See,
so that's exactly why. For that reason, right there.
I'm such a victim.
Fireworks behind the scenes, but
how you running today, Mars? What's up, brother?
All together.
I'm wonderful, man. I'm wonderful.
That's good news. Good news. What up, Ron?
Welcome back to the panel. What's good, Chill? What's good? We got some good guys up here, maybe some bad guys, depending on how you look at things. What's up, Slim? How you feeling today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy to be back. I appreciate it.
Swipe in the house. What's going on?
Man, I'm living, man. I don't know. I saw the best player of a generation. Somebody put up a GOAT-like performance last night. I know Shill got an issue with it because, I feel like Jordan would have put up, maybe 35 points on even better efficiency, but we'll see.
Mars, can you school him to who I think the man is, Mars?
Oh yeah. Cho may be old, but he cups for the young generation. He thinks LeBron James is the greatest player of all time. I don't know why, but that's his belief.
Make sure you let him know, Mars. Don't think just because you see the white that I'm automatically a Jordan guy. No, James is my guy.
To be fair, I'm a Jordan guy too, but so that's another conversation.
James is my guy. So,
but it's no secret. LeBron, the GOAT, the youngest grandpa, the kid from Akron, the king himself, went ballistic last night in the fourth quarter, willed the Lakers, and I mean willed the Lakers back from down 19 points, and that's what we got to address. Talk to me about that performance last night. And Chill, I got to start with you because this is your man.
The thing that I saw was I just got nostalgic because I'm watching him last night thinking you kind of forget how good he used to be when you see stuff like this. Because you see him now, and as old as he is, automatically, that's the logic on him now. This is who he is. But when you see stuff like this, what you saw last night with him going off like he was going off, it reminds me of how good he used to be. And the fact that he could turn back the clock and remind people that, I'm not as good as I used to be, but at any point, I could get going again. And no, I don't expect him to outscore a team in the fourth quarter, but this is something that he was doing when he was younger, long time. And I want to say that the Clippers they just did a bad job. They couldn't score. I mean, Russell Westbrook and James Harden 2 for 6 in the fourth quarter, 3 turnovers. I mean, they couldn't really get anything done. But James did what James does. He just took the game over. And one of the things I really dug about him was his confidence in his guys. So James has the ball out top. And I think they're down 3 at that point. They're either down 3 or 5 at that point. And he goes down and he gets downhill and he pitches it to Rui, who misses. Anthony Davis gets the rebound, who's also been big last night. Anthony Davis gets the rebound, pitches it back out to James. James does the exact same thing and goes right back to Rui, who cracks the 3. The very next trip, he goes back to Rui again, who Leonard closes out high on him. He beats Leonard to the basket, and now they're up a bucket. That's the confidence that he has in those guys. And with him having that confidence in them, that increases their confidence. And you can't really put a price tag on stuff like that. You can't. And the kind of team that he's on, I mean, they're not great, but they're good enough that when you got a guy like that, you always have a chance. Always. He's fantastic, man. He's the best that I've ever seen. I won't lie.
I like the Rui minutes. I like the Rui minutes a lot, actually. I think when the Lakers can put versatile defensive players on the floor that can get them out and running to where they don't have to run a ton of half-court offense, that they're at their best. And I think we saw it was Bron, D'Lo, Rui, AD, and I'm trying to figure out who the first guy on the floor was.
Reeves.
Was it Austin Reeves? Yeah. And I think just like having floor spacers out there that allow Bron to play the one like more, I guess, just conveniently, like it helps so much for what they want to do. And it felt like a playoff game. I don't know if y'all got those vibes, but like that is the kind of energy I felt. We're like, hey, we're going to do the same thing over and over and over again until you stop it. And that had like brought that a little bit of that playoff atmosphere, I feel like. But
go ahead, Swipe. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so that was incredible, man. I think, it's so funny because, you talked about this new era of LeBron, right? And I think some of this, like his shooting is obviously a product of the fact that he's older. He doesn't have the same amount of leg, but it's also a product of the fact he just has assimilated to his era. Yo, he shot 12 3-pointers last night.
12 of them.
12. And he made 7. And the thing is, man, they were switch hunting that whole last 6 minutes of that fourth quarter. And it's funny that, like, the Clippers, they would seemingly have, like, enough wings, like, if when PG's on the court, at least to have a wing and two to be able to actually throw with LeBron. Obviously, PJ Tucker coming off the bench and all that. James Harden, you know, he's 6'5", like, he's a stout body, but he's not going to be able to do anything with that. But just watching him be able to be so masterful, and what I love, my favorite play. So the ball that went to D'Lo for that last three, remember D'Lo did the Nicholas Batum, up the ball high, and then, let it go. I love that. I love when they do that. But I think one of the things about it was Bron, they tried to trap him, and because Bron, it's a credit to his intelligence, and it's a credit to his size, the fact he's so tall. Gets the ball, he goes up high with the ball, faking that corner throw to Rui again, who had already hit the last three, but then is able to get it to D'Lo at the last minute, man. And I love the idea that the Lakers are saying, we're going to give you a top 2, 3-level defender on the inside with AD, and we're just going to put a bunch of shooters around LeBron and AD. If they work that 2-man game, they can. But yesterday, we can switch on Daniel Tice, we can switch on James Harden, and we're just going to continue to run that action over and over and over again. And y'all, it's not even the offense. Now, LeBron had 34 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 of 12 from 3, 6 of 9 from 2, 79% true shooting, which is crazy yesterday, considering who he was playing. But one of the things that was most impressive, he was going 1v1 and taking the responsibility of guarding Kawhi Leonard yesterday at 39 years old. And
not switching either. Not switching either. Getting over screens and staying in front of him, not switching.
Right.
So
right. And then even every time they would try to screen him off, fighting through it, showing that effort in that last possession on Kawhi Leonard, moving his feet and being able to stay in front, man. Like, we've just never seen somebody that's been able to be this dominant this long to where Chill. I think he entered the best of the world conversation 2008, solidified by 2009 for me. And from 2009 to be in 2024, and he's able to put up those kind of performances where he's the best player on the court with an apex Kawhi Leonard and apex Anthony Davis. It's just incredible, man. Like, really, I was floored last night watching that game.
One of the things that we haven't talked about is how much gravity, I believe that's the word that people use, how much impact he has on your offense when he's playing like that. Because when he's playing like that, now what you're doing is you concentrating so much on stopping him that's slowing down your offense. Guys like Kawhi Leonard, guys like Paul, guys like James Harden, guys like Russell Westbrook. You're so enamored, right? You're so focused on him that your offense is now suffering because you know once he gets the ball and he gets going like that, plus he's looking for other people, that you can't even concentrate on your offense the way you do. Prime example would be James Harden. James Harden didn't get downhill nearly as much. The only real aggressive guy, and I'm on record saying this, that Malik Monk is going to have some, I think he's going to have some competition at the 6th man of the year because Norman Powell is something off that bench. I really dig Norman Powell off that bench. He was one of the few guys. He's one of the few guys that was really aggressive. Him and Leonard. The rest of those guys, they were so focused on slowing down James that it affected their offense. They went on a 15-0 run. In the fourth quarter. These dudes was down by 19, and that's largely due to James getting going. And once he gets going, we know him as a willing passer. He will get off the ball. He's not one of those dudes that's just going to keep chucking shots. No, he's going to get other people involved. When he does that, that completely screws up not only your defense, but your offense too. He was fantastic last night. Absolutely he was.
And you talk about gravity, and just think about, back to what I said about putting Bron at the 1 and having floor spacers around him. Think about who has to guard LeBron in that situation. You can't put your point guard on him. He's going to bully him. He's going to get downhill at will, whether you collapse on him and he finds someone else or he's just finishing. Okay, so you got to put someone bigger on him, and you can't put a big. It's got to be one of your forwards. It's got to be PG, Kawhi. Obviously, they're going to hunt switches. They're going to do that thing. But even when a shot goes up defensively, you're not thinking, okay, hey, our bigs got this. We're out. Because usually if Bron's penetrating and kicking, he's staying in the paint, and you have AD in the paint. When that shot goes up, you have to crash. You can't have guys leaking. So now, like you talked about offensively, obviously, like it slows your offense down trying to guard them when they're like running that type of offense.
Right.
You're not getting any easy transition buckets. You're having to run half court offense with most likely like 18, 19 seconds on the shot clock.
Right.
But it is crazy. I mean, gravity is like the biggest, I think, influence on NBA offenses and maybe just NBA games.
Right.
Individual player gravity. Just because guys are so good, you don't have to run a lot of actions to get high percentage looks. It's just like rely on a player's gravity.
Now, what some people will say is, well, where was Kawhi Leonard while all this was going on? Well, he was out there. James was dealing with him, though, to Swiper's point. It wasn't like he was off the floor and he was solely concentrating on James defensively. No, James was dealing with him. That's why I have such a difficult time when I see these guys, not just with the Lakers, when I see these guys dying on ghost screens, just routinely switching. And I'm thinking to myself, watching James, you can get around screens. You don't have to just die on soft screens. You can get around screens and make guys make plays, because what they're anticipating when a screen is there, and it's not even that hard of a screen. It's just body to body. It's not something huge. It's just body to body. You could get around this screen. In the process of doing that, man, you can play better defense. James proved that last night when he was covering Kawhi Leonard. And that last shot that Kawhi Leonard had, that wasn't just a shot from him with James' better defense. I feel like he wore Leonard down. I feel like he wore Leonard down more than anything.
How would y'all, if y'all are in that situation and you see the Lakers and LeBron are trying to switch hunt you consistently, they did similar things in the playoff. They even obviously can run a switch hunt with one of the smaller guards, whoever Reeves is guarding, and if they try to go under that to delay it, then Reeves can do a flare out, then they'll throw it out for a three. How would you all would have wanted to defend that action when they were trying to switch James Harden or Daniel Tice onto LeBron?
I think you just got to force Bron to throw skips. You cannot let him have his first look if you want to do anything running jumpy at him. Because, I mean, think about like in basketball in general, like not talking about NBA, you can gun a ball screen, you can double, you can high hedge. In the NBA, you can't. You're just going to get burned. Like you're going to get toasted. So I think you just have to take away that first level pass of like whoever the screener is. If there's any type of delay in like either fighting through it or whether you're trying to switch it, whatever it is, you have to have your guys that are in the guarding those corners or those skip pass spots. You have to have them playing just higher up in the gap and force him to throw that high arcing pass to the corner, wherever it is, just to give yourself more time.
Well, wait a minute though, Slim, because not everybody is elite on the pick and roll. I mean, Phoenix is one of the worst pick and roll teams in the game. They got a bunch of isolation guys. So
they don't have a point guard. Eric Gordon.
That's a large reason why. So with that being said, a guy like James, do I want to hedge? Do I want to drop in with him? What I want to do with James is I want to, especially when they play 5 out like they do, or when they have 4 out and when they have Anthony Davis on the block. To your point, Swiper, I want to get the ball out of James's hands. Somebody else has to do it. So I'm jumping James, especially when he's 25, 30 feet away from the basket. I'm jumping him, and I'm gonna live with Rui shooting the long ball or getting downhill. I'm gonna live with Austin Reeves making a play. Not that they can't, but I'd much rather them do it than James, because I know that more times than not, when James has the ball and it's 1-on-1 and he's going downhill, something good's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yo, Mars, I want to hear from you on this game. What's your takeaways from this?
Welcome back, Ron. We missed you.
Appreciate that. Mars, you're not much of a scumbag at all.
See, exactly. I'm the only one who said welcome back. Ron was going through his little technical difficulties. I'm welcoming him back.
100%.
Nice to see you've got
I love
adequate
Mars,
lighting now.
I don't like Mars. I love Mars. This is my guy. I love Mars, but he's a scumbag, so it's okay.
But I think, everything was pretty much covered in terms of the praise of LeBron James and the Lakers mismatch hunting, which has been a common theme for LeBron James teams for like 9-10 years now, I want to say.
Say nothing new.
Yeah, so it's been effective. I'm more disappointed in, I guess, Ty Lue than like anything. But mate, I don't think in the playoffs he's gonna be just giving up switches as easily as he is in the regular season. I think just in the regular season, defenses are just a lot more rudimentary. It's just we gonna switch because it's the easiest thing to do. If there's a ball screen, switch it. Like there's a slip screen, switch. Go screen switch. No matter what, we just gonna switch and then just live with the results. In the postseason, I don't think that's gonna happen. I hope it's not gonna happen because if the Clippers play a team like the Mavericks and they start switching, they're gonna lose the series in 5 games. So I'm hopeful that they don't do that. That's where I'm at with it. And then in terms of counters, I guess you'd Tice probably isn't the best person for it, so you probably need Zubac back. But you'd probably have Zubac in a drop, and then you'd have the secondary defender defending the guard who usually flares. He'd probably have to stay attached to the shooter and not show. And then you'd probably have to have a competent point of attack defender who can fight through screens. So it'd probably have to be Paul George if I'm talking for the Clippers. You'd probably have to have Paul George trail around the screen, force LeBron into Zubac who's dropping.
Like they try to run that drag?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the secondary defender would have to stay attached. I don't think you can commit too many resources because that skip pass, like for example, because Phoenix used to had a similar sort of thing, and Denver would just drag out the screen and they would just force Devin Booker, who's not as comfortable in the pick and roll, to force him to make skip passes. He wasn't as comfortable. LeBron James can make a skip pass with his eyes closed. So I don't think you can force him to do that because he's just going to destroy you. So I think you'd have to have a competent screen navigator. Now I think every team in the league, every contender in the West has that for the most part. I mean, the Timberwolves, I'm assuming it would probably be Jaden McDaniels. I'm assuming Rudy in the drop.
Nikhil,
and then you'd have
Nikhil probably be a little bit better for guards.
Nikhil might be because I don't
know. I love Jaden, bro. Jaden,
but I mean, at 6'10",
Yeah.
getting through screens might be a bit more difficult. But in terms of trailing behind and then with Rudy and drop, that could be effective. And then have, I guess, Ant or Nikhil or whoever else trailing on the guard who's flaring out. That could be effective. OKC, I mean, you'd probably have Lou Dort on the ball, Shea trailing or Jalen Williams, and then Chet would be in the drop. Denver would probably be. Do you want Aaron Gordon screen navigating? I don't know.
No,
maybe they'll play Peyton Watson more. Maybe they'll play Peyton Watson more. I don't know. I'll leave that to Swiper. He knows his personnel better. The Clippers, I said, would be Paul George, Zubac in the drop, and then trailing probably Amir Coffey. Probably. Phoenix, I don't know if they have the personnel. Royce O'Neal, Josh Okogie. I don't think you can play Josh Okogie. But for the most part, I think there is counters. It's just you gotta have the right personnel for it. That's why I say the Lakers are a hard team to beat in the postseason if they can get in. It's just about them getting in the 82-game season.
I'm curious. Is LeBron like right now? Is he still? Because I feel like this is what you were saying. He's a blitz like every time guy. Like I don't know if you're saying that situation like when he gets this hot, or if like late game. When we know what they're going to do, we blitz him every time. I don't care if he hasn't hit a shot all game. You think he's still that guy?
No. It depends on the shooting. It all depends on the shooting. If he's making his shots, his pull-up jumpers, then yeah, I think you can do that. But I think if LeBron is just shooting, like in the playoff last year, and I don't know how sustainable LeBron's shooting will be,
Hey, he's shooting 40 from 3 this year, which is
but
insane.
Just the 29th of February, so April 15th, April 20th, we'll see if he's hitting his jumpers, if they're in the playoffs at that point in time, I'd say the least. I think depending on the matchup for sure, like if you're playing versus OKC or one of these dudes, and they're going to put like pretty baby wings on him, then yeah, you probably would have blitzed him a lot.
It's situation for sure. It's situation.
I just don't want honestly, Miles, I just don't, when we get into the meat and potatoes of the games, I know that he could hit a shot. I do know that. Now, sure, he might be 2 for 7 or 3 for 8 or something like that. He could definitely be that. But when we get in crunch time, like we were in last night, I don't want him making plays. I want somebody else to do it. I want to get the ball out of his hands as much as possible. I want to put that responsibility on Rui to make a shot or to make a play. I want to put that responsibility on D'Angelo Russell to make a play or to make a shot, or get the ball into Anthony Davis. I want those guys to do it because, like I said, more times than not, with him with the ball, when we get late in the game, he's going to find somebody and something good's going to happen. So I want to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible when the shot clock is running down, and not when it gets to like 6 or 5 when like Big Ox talked about throwing grenades. No, I want to do it early. I want to do it early because I want those other guys to make decisions.
And chill. Like, if it's going to be like yesterday and Anthony Davis isn't displaying the most confidence of all time as a scorer or as a passer out of that short roll, to trap, hedge, hey, AD, go make a decision. Whatever you want to do, shoot that little pop shot, whatever you want to do. So that's true too.
Yeah, I think like in the playoffs, or even just as we get closer to the crunch time of the season, where for teams like the Lakers, every game matters, and a lot of other teams in the league, I think it's like, do you want to be reactionary or do you want to prevent the greatest player of all time from getting any sort of comfortable at all? Like if he's uncomfortable in a game, my MO is like, as a coach at least, would be, we're going to keep it that way. And we're going to force, like you said, Rui, Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, D'Lo to make plays, because I'm not going to leave the game in the hands of the greatest player of all time. So I feel that.
I don't even think that's a question though. Like we all know, even if we want to not admit it, deep down in your heart of hearts, you know this team goes as LeBron goes. So you want to stifle his momentum from even going. And if he is going, you want to make sure that he doesn't continue to go. I mean, you seen what happened last night. Brown got the roll in. Slowly but surely, you seen the momentum shift, and it shifted quickly too. Right when that fourth quarter started, he hit that opening three, and it was like, uh-oh. Then he hit the next one. It was like, oh.
And then he had that
from there, they just started clicking. Yeah. It's like, when LeBron starts coming down and shooting those and making them, you're in for a long night or a long quarter or however many's left in the game, however much time. But I got to ask you guys, was that game more of a L for the Clippers or a dub for the Lakers? Like, what would you contribute that more to? Did the Clippers lose that or did the Lakers win that?
Well, I think anytime you have a 21 point lead in the fourth quarter, then you got it was 18, yeah, I mean, that's you obviously did. And the thing is, the Clippers offense, as great as it's been, it's extremely James Harden creation dependent. And I think Kawhi obviously is a great and elite play finisher out of that. But, if your offense is going to stall that much to where you can't get a shot off, and on the other end, Kawhi Leonard, you can't switch on the other end because, if LeBron is giving you that much issue or whatever, and you can't get him off of you to get one of Rui or Reeves or D'Lo on you, or even it's James Harden. Now, James Harden did get by AD once, like with 3 minutes left in the game, and got a finish for the leg. But I think for the Clippers, man, you got to look at yourself and say, this is going to happen. You're going to get up. You're going to be in a fourth-quarter situation again. You're going to have to execute down the stretch of that fourth quarter in a playoff setting, and you're going to have to make shots. But, again, maybe if PG is there, like some of that's a little bit different, but I don't know how consistent they can rely on PG in those settings. So I think the Lakers earned that win because they took it to the Clippers. But the Clippers also, they didn't help themselves at all because they fell apart. And they got real tight. And when they got tight, like, I don't know if you remember at the end of the game, right before Ty Lue called that timeout, remember James passed it to Kawhi. Kawhi passed it back to James like he didn't want them to do it with 9 seconds left. And then James threw it back to Kawhi like, what are you doing?
You the guy.
So it's just a lot of indecision. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. And this is the kind of team that we're looking at. Like, Leonard is the guy. And this is the second time the Lakers beat them, by the way, in this kind of fashion, where we had a dogfight at the end. And we can't blame – I mean, I know Mars. I know you want to blame Ty Lue because he's a small ball merchant from time to time. But in this particular situation, he didn't do that. No. But I'm not really sure I love hunting – that they're hunting Zubac and switching Zubac on to James. Maybe we might want to do something different defensively because that's not going to work. Clearly, that's not going to work because he's going to drag Zubac 25 feet away from the basket. One, he's going to crack the long ball on him, especially when he has it going. Or if he doesn't do that, he's going to get downhill. So I don't know if that's the best avenue to take with him. But we all know that the post that's holding up this Clipper tent is Kawhi Leonard. He's the difference in everything that they're doing, not just with his health, his game, because he's the only one who we've seen with this Clipper unit. He's the only one who we've seen get it done when it matters the most. That's why James Harden gave him the ball. Like, why are you giving me the ball? You're the guy. That's why Paul George does that. That's why Russell Westbrook is doing that, because he's the guy. So when you run up on a team like Minnesota in the playoffs, that's going to play defense, that's going to slow you guys down. When he doesn't have it going, what's that going to mean for the rest of the crew? Because they're going to be heavily looking for him. I'm out on the Clippers. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. I'm out on the Clippers.
You're out out in terms of what?
Until I see a parade on Figueroa Boulevard, I'm out on the Clippers. I'm out.
So, in other words, he's not winning. He's not
I'm
in
out.
until they win it.
I'm out. I'm out on the
And he calls me a bandwagon. Okay.
I'm out.
That's
They
a hot
missed Paul
take,
George.
man. That's hot.
They missed Paul George. I'm not going to put too much on this loss. A lot of the flaws they have offensively would be solved if they had Paul George. Just the ability to attack from the second side. So you got James Harden. If he can break down a defense, you have Kawhi and Paul George on either wing. I mean, that's something they're missing. You go from Paul George to Amir Coffey. Like, there's just a level of creation in secondary or tertiary actions that you don't have, which is why I believe their offense gets stagnant. It's already heavy isolation, but at least before the isolation would come with an advantage being created. But it's harder to create an advantage when you have less creators on the court. You have Paul George out there. I think that becomes easier. So I'm not going to put too much on the loss now. Defensively, I think the switching has to change, and I think it will change when you have Kawhi and Paul George out there. But for now,
in what way, Mars? In what way?
Because Paul George is one of the better screen navigators in the NBA. So
Right.
I don't think
he's versatile.
I don't think you have to switch. And if you do, you can have just like theoretically, if they're bringing guards into the action, you could just pre-switch and have Kawhi and Paul George switch the screen with LeBron.
Right.
That's theoretically what you could do. Now, I'm not a coach. Like, I don't know what Ty Lue's seeing. He might see something different. If you bring AD and maybe you want to have Kawhi on AD just so that switch is easier. But I don't know how you like that matchup. Like, there's a few things he can try. But in terms of just switching everything with James Harden, I don't think that's going to happen in the playoffs. There's going to be a lot more pre-switching with Paul George out there. You have another strong wing defender who can get through screens, so you don't even have to switch if you don't want to. There's just a lot of things that they can do that I don't think is worth overreacting to how they defended last night. And then, I think Paul George is just the difference. If Paul George plays and they're still switching, then I'll just be like, okay, this doesn't work in the playoffs. I hope Ty Lue changes it. But without Paul George, I think there's just a limit to what they can do defensively.
But with that being said, Mars, and we've had this conversation about Damian Lillard, where that roster isn't constructed to protect him. Is this roster constructed defensively on the wing to protect James Harden? Because James Harden is the guy we're going after in the meat and potatoes of games. He's the guy that we're hunting in switches. He's the guy that we're trying to get isolation on. Depending on who it is, whoever the team is, he's the guy that we want to get in action. Do they have enough to protect him? The reason why I'm asking you that is because as of today, I mean, I feel like Leonard is still awesome as a defender, but I feel like Paul George, it's more reputation today than what it was. I don't think Paul George is the defender that he used to be. I think he still can defend, but is it enough to actually protect James Harden when we get in playoff series where we can focus solely on a guy like James Harden? I'm not sure.
Protect James Harden?
Yes.
You think James Harden's that much of a liability?
I do.
On the outside, I'm not much of a believer in James Harden, just in terms of guarding in space. But I don't think he has to do that. I think they have enough. I think Kawhi, Paul George, Terrence Mann, Russell Westbrook on occasion, Amir Coffey.
Zubac, is he closing for you?
I mean, with Ty Lue, he's not going to close because he doesn't like bigs. But does that mean he puts PJ Tucker in at 50 years old, and you have PJ Tucker on AD for that level of versatility? I don't know. Maybe I've seen him try put Kawhi at the 5 at times. So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw last year. Yeah.
So I don't know what.
Get Ty Lue off the floor. Get Ty Lue off the floor. What are we doing?
Chill. Nothing about that is funny.
Oh my
Nothing
God.
about that is funny.
You think Kawhi at the 5 is ridiculous? You think that's I don't think it's that ridiculous.
I think
hold on.
Depending on if you have like a terrible big man at the 5. Yeah, if you have a Rudy Gobert offensive big man at the 5.
They tried that, Mars.
No. I'm not saying Rudy Gobert. It didn't work against the Timberwolves.
No,
but I'm saying if that's who
the
you have,
Suns,
it might
Mars.
work.
They had Bones, Russ. This is Bones, Russ, Norm, and it was I can't remember who the other one was, but it was him at the 5. It was him at the 5, but I'm saying Leonard was 4. But they did that. They were up 10 versus the Suns in the third quarter. Put that lineup out there, and they got smoked.
We can't do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Who else is on the floor?
I don't see it, but like maybe let me look
situationally it can work.
Let me look at the
player in
so
that.
Do I think it works against?
Who?
I mean, I look at a team like what
I don't think it works against any team that's in the playoffs. I'm gonna be honest.
No,
well,
it doesn't.
look at they did
against
it
the Warriors.
it
might work. Against the Warriors, it might work.
They took Zubats off the floor and it made Porzingis unplayable. They just had
But
Marcus
that's
Morris.
because
guarding
Porzingis is a stretch big. So that, and then I remember the Mavs had to go with Boban. That was
that was dark times.
But
dark
that's
times.
because
I think it can work.
if you have an interior big who's a lob threat, I don't think it really works unless they're like completely inept offensively. But like the only team I can think of that maybe it would work against is the Warriors because they run Draymond at the 5.
Well, think about what the
They'll
Lakers
get busy against the Warriors with Kawhi at the 5. Like they.
Wait a minute, Ron, because did we not see Looney Olajuwon last year? So
yeah, but Looney's washed.
Sure?
But Looney's
don't
washed
say
now.
that. You can't say that. That's
Looney's washed now. I mean.
You think he's over?
I think he's played too much, and I think he's tired. I think
he is what he is.
He's ran him into the ground.
He's just like he's a 72 overall rebounder. All of his stats are just being big. That's what he is.
And teams have figured out having 2 non-spacers on the floor, even if you have Steph Curry, isn't viable offense. So you can't have him and Draymond on the floor too often.
If Steve Kerr is smart, the what's the big light-skinned kid's name?
Trace Jackson Davis.
Dog.
Yes.
Yeah. And if he could get him in the lineup and involve him a little bit more, then that Kawhi Leonard, that could be a lob threat at the rim more than anything. Just be a lob threat at the rim. And be a presence at the rim. I'm not saying that, we throwing the ball into him on the block and he's going to work. No, I'm not saying that. But to be some sort of threat at the rim, that works because Leonard at the 5 is any playoff team. It's not. No, that's not working.
Well, and I'm sure, Piper,
but they're 100% sure. I'm 100% sure. I'm just sure that there's somebody on that coaching staff when he puts Leonard at the 5 that's saying to himself, "This is a terrible idea."
But they have terrible centers and PJ Tucker. Why do I need Kawhi at the 5? I mean, honestly, like at this point, I'm just doing it because it sounds cool. For me personally, Kawhi Leonard's not a big enough body. He's not physical enough. And I just don't even want to put him in that situation where he's having to bang versus somebody big. Because guess what? As much as we're saying it's matchup dependent, I saw Ty Lue do this versus Denver in the in-season tournament.
It's not working. It's not going to work. It
was terrible.
But
it's Jokic. You don't do it against Nikola Jokic.
But he will. Is the thing.
Yeah, Ty Lue's whole formula for big is dominating him. Go small and try to get the big off the court. That's his only counter, and it never
worked. Which worked 3 years ago, Mars. It doesn't work anymore.
It just hasn't worked in a while. It doesn't mean it doesn't work anymore. I think
it's not going to work against any team in the West.
Any team?
No, it's not.
Wait. I think it'll work against the Thunder. Do you think it works against Chet, like Chet and the Thunder to close or something?
I've already seen Chet destroy the Clippers. And I mean, maybe because he's so like willing to pick and pop, maybe. But then if you have Kawhi on Chet, you lose the value of having Kawhi on defense if he has to guard Chet on the outside, and then you're giving Shea free real estate to the rim.
But I'm saying at this point though, who's Shea gonna switch up? That's probably Harden or whatever. But all right, you got to live with something. That's what I'm saying.
With that,
you gonna live with Shea driving with no rim protection?
No, I'm not putting Kawhi at the 5.
But I'm saying that's why it's not gonna work. You can't have no rim protection against Shea. He drives more than anyone in the league. He can beat anyone to the rim, and you're gonna have no one there to help. Like you're gonna lose.
Slim, it doesn't work against Minnesota because if you put those 5 guys out there, one of those guys can't shoot, which means that now Rudy, who can now guard better on the perimeter, actually guards now, and he guards better. I didn't say he was great. I said he guards better on the perimeter.
That's fair.
Than what he used
that's
to.
Fair.
So,
that's fair.
So because he guards better, and Coach Finch recognizes when you have that small ball lineup that we can throw the ball to him when he's rim running. Or when he's just at the rim, we could throw the ball into him. So it doesn't work again. It doesn't work against Minnesota. We already seen that it doesn't work against the Lakers. It doesn't work against Oklahoma City. It definitely doesn't work against Denver because Joker just picked you guys apart, right? I don't think it works against New Orleans off the strength that Valanciunas can actually knock down jump shots. And now Valanciunas isn't a great defender, but that New Orleans defense as a whole, they've actually gotten a lot better. How they switch. And not just their switching action, how they push guys away from the basket is so much better. So
they're good with angles. They're great with driving angles for sure.
So to Mars's point, at minimum, including the Clippers, who are one of the playoff teams. At minimum, there's 7 teams in the playoffs that they can't do this against. At minimum.
The
That's
only
fair.
team is the
Yo.
Warriors. It's the only. That's the only team.
Fellas, so I got to ask, before we move on, I got to ask the question of all questions when we're talking about both LA teams. They so happen to meet in the playoffs, healthy. Who are you taking? The Lakers or the Clippers?
I'm taking the Clippers. I'm still
Clippers
taking the
in
Clippers.
Clippers in 6.
Yeah, I think some of this is like, I get it's cool, regular season and all that, but bruh, you gonna be fighting the play-in. They the 10 seed, 9 seed. You got to win a play-in game, win another play-in game, and then go play versus the Clippers. Say you make it to the Clippers, or I don't know where they're going to be at the point in time in the standings, but that's just a lot. That's a lot to ask for. And then if the Clippers are sitting there waiting on you, and they got Zubac, and they got PG, and Kawhi, and Harden, everybody's ready to rock and roll. And again, I think the best you're going to get from the Clippers is early in the playoff. Everybody's going to be healthy. And then they're going to get worn down after playoffs go on. But you get that first bout against them, they're going to look like world destroyers.
Swiper, I'm going to tell you this, and you're probably going to disagree with me. If you're going to get rid of them, it better be early. What I mean when I say that is, if this series is going to go 7 games, I don't like your chances. If you're going to get rid of these dudes, it better be 4 or 5 games. Because the longer this series lasts, the more probable James Harden is to go to pieces.
Oh,
More probable Paul George is to go to pieces.
I mean,
I've seen it happen.
We've seen Kawhi Leonard in the Game 7 recently too, by the way.
I have
So
seen
wait,
Kawhi Leonard.
the team that has struggled in the regular season for the past 4 years. I'd say the regular season is the greatest, purveyor of teams that struggle with longevity. Like they barely make the playoff. They barely make the play-in. The only reason they're a playoff team is because of the play-in. Like the past few years, that team you're more comfortable with them with longevity than the Clippers.
Yes, I am.
Over the course of a series? Oh yeah, with LeBron and AD.
I realize it's LeBron, but like you just have to look at the body of work. And if we're talking about longevity and being able to play good games over and over and over and over again, it's like it's not subjective. The Lakers have just struggled to be consistent over long periods of time. That's I get it's LeBron. It's LeBron. Playoffs are different, totally different beast. But just looking at that from like just an objective point of view of like, okay, which teams struggle to play better for longer stretches? It's the Lakers.
Absolutely. They don't do anything consistently. But we all know that the playoffs is a completely different animal.
Yeah.
Once you get in matchups.
And teams can get hot. Peaking is peaking.
Right. I mean, we saw the Miami Heat, who has one of the worst offenses in the game. They play at one of the slowest paces in the game. They were a playing team last year. They ended up in the NBA Finals.
They got healthy.
Right? They ended up in the NBA Finals. So, I mean, it's not ridiculous to think that it could happen. However, like Swiper said when he's talking about the Clippers, I just feel like the longer this series lasts, knowing who James Harden is, knowing who Paul George is, knowing who Kawhi, knowing who Russell Westbrook is, I know who these dudes are. And the longer this series lasts, the more prone they are to go to pieces, because I've seen it before. So if you're going to get rid of them, it better be a short series. It better be a 4-5 game series. Otherwise, when we get to 6-7 games, I don't like your chances. I don't.
All right, y'all. Today, we will be on playback at 1 p.m. Eastern, which means we're going to do our last hour of the panel over on playback. We got some good things up our sleeves. Last week was the All-Star game. We had a lot of discussions and things of that nature. So we're going to get down to the bottom of All-Star weekend, what it should be. Go back and look at some old All-Star games and see where things fell off at and what it used to look like. And then also, it was a dunk contest debate about there only being 150 and all of this good stuff. So we'll go and see what was what and if there is more than 150 ever all time. That will be on playback at 1 p.m. So y'all make sure that y'all leave with us and go straight over there. Also to www.playerschoicemerch.com. Go log in, check it out, find yourself something nice. Like the video if you haven't already. Shout out to all of our new subscribers. Shout out to all of our new members. Cheese gifted 5 Players Choice memberships. So salute to all those 5 people that got blessed with those. We got another member. Icy hot these knees. All right.
I feel you.
Kawhi Leonard's burner account. Cool, that's cool. All right. We got super chat. So let's go ahead and start from the top. It's Mr. GQ to you said, Swiper, cook these boys, especially Lars. They never talk about the Nuggets unless They pointing out their slump, shaking.
That is not true. That is not true. I'm on record saying that the team to beat in the Western Conference is the Denver Nuggets. In fact, I said that how I felt about the Boston Celtics is how I felt about the Denver Nuggets last year. So that's not true. That's not true.
Swipe, are you cooking anybody today?
No, man, I'm here for a good time, man. I ain't cooking nobody here. We all friends, giving our takes off, man. Now, if you happen to like my take, a little bit more, I can't say nothing about that. That's cool. I get it. Me and Chilltown went out and had a whole little bout last week about Jason Tatum, which he's still wrong about, by the way. But I respect my man's opinion. You know what I mean? We saw the best forward in the game last night, and it was 23. It was a dude in LA. But that's just me, though.
It's interesting how a 60-year-old can clean up and automatically she find it in a 25-year-old that one day. Like,
chill. You go find the right 60-year-old.
The rest of the time, like she don't really look that good, but she cleaned up one day. You're like, damn.
Angela Bassett, ever since she was 20, I don't care what it is.
I still think she's 35. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I don't know what it is.
If she's 60 going on 35, then technically you asking can a 35-year-old be finer than a 25-year-old?
Every time I see Angela Bassett, I think she's 35 years old. I ain't gonna lie to you. Anytime I see her, I'm like, damn, she's 60. Ain't no way that chick's 60. I thought she just turned 35. No doubt.
Salute Angela Bassett. I also do got a shout out that we got something coming up here real soon on March 5th, starting on March 5th, right here on Player's Choice. From the logo, yeah, we got some shooters over here. Dub, Jalen Carter, ZZ, Steven, Gifted, a couple other guys too. Y'all be sure to tap in with that show. It's gonna be the next best thing over here on PC. Moving along, Alan L said he's still better than Shea and Tatum. I don't care. L Mars, L Dub.
Who talking about James?
Oh, me.
LeBron.
You talking about James?
Like right in the regular season?
And one game is all it takes.
He better than Tatum.
So that's crazy to say?
To say Bron is better than Shea and Jason Tatum right now?
No, not Shea. Both of them, but really Jason Tatum. That's
Ron. Anything you say about Jason Tatum goes in one ear and out the other with me. I don't listen to a word you say about Jason Tatum.
What's your take on Tatum?
Chill. We're not going to do this again. We're not going to do this again. But the question,
give me a rundown. Give me a rundown. Give me like one
real quick.
Ron thinks Tatum isn't a top 10 player in the league. That's it.
No. Go further than that, Mars. He doesn't think
he said he's 11 to 14. He said anywhere from 11 to 14.
He said 12 to 15. That's what he said. That's what he said.
I mean, look, I don't usually put Tatum quite as high as other people do, just because I think about whether you can trust a guy late game. And he's an incredible shot creator, shot maker, but there are a lot of guys in the league I'd rather have the ball in their hands at the end of the game than Jason Tatum. That's fair. But other than that, incredible two-way shot creator, bucket getter, like intangibles. He does everything. He's obviously playmaking is up in the air, but he doesn't need to do that on that team. But either way, I think 11 to 14 is kind of wild. I think he gets a lot of that right now just because his numbers are down because his team is really good and they're playing incredible team basketball. Joe Mazzulla has those guys operating at a high level. He gets the best out of every guy. And sometimes when that happens, the guy at the top comes down a little bit so that everyone can play better. I don't know. It might be regular season,
but he's not that good though. But
Tatum, if he, again, just to be clear about this, even if that's true, and his numbers have gone down by choice, him by choice or by default still ain't one of them ones in the league that we're calling a superstar. That's just what it is. But he's still he's an elite player. He's an all-NBA player.
I don't want to have to open this can of worms if we're
It's already open. It's too late. It's already open.
But
you already opened it.
So one more question on this, and then we got to go. Because, Chill, I really got to ask you. And this is not me trying to bash Tatum or anything.
Yes, sir.
But based on what you've seen from LeBron last night, it's more so me bigging up LeBron. You really don't believe that it's an argument to say LeBron is better than Tatum?
No, not today. Because what you saw last night is something that he used to be able to do on a consistent basis. He can't do that on the regular, or not even on the regular, but close to the regular. So no, that's something. What we saw last night, I might get one more game like that for the rest of the season from him. Maybe. That's that. It possibly one more game. No.
All right. Less spooky. Said Braun to go. People who criticize his finals records are gaslighting as if he didn't face harder teams than MJ.
I hate comparing eras
I
personally.
got Bill Russell, so I mean, I don't care.
Yeah,
I think it's so tough to compare eras. You can't.
As Chill noted last week, if only LeBron got a year and a half off to correct some behaviors for some time, he might have not had to worry about going 4-6. But again, I think for me, there's no way he was beating either one of those KD Steph teams. So that for me is all redundant. Like, there's no way he would winning those series. Period.
Sega said these new rule changes will expose Curry next year.
Like what? What kind of new? What new rules?
They're talking about. They're discussing what to change if to make defense better.
How much more? So favor the defense a little bit more. Not so okay. Favor it. Well,
What else can you do other than like they've gotten rid of the foul baiting offensive like foul call? I mean, they have, or at least they're taking steps at the very least. You can't do the rip through. You can't get in front of someone and throw on the brakes. Even they called Kyrie in that Mavs-Cavs game on that little hook.
Yes,
on Strus, and I was so mad at first. I was like, "This is terrible! Like, what? That's such a bad call." And then I watched the replay. I was like, "Damn, that's like
definitely hooked them."
It's good for the game. I was mad in the moment. Good for the game for sure. But I mean, if other than that, what do you do? Bring back hand checking? I can't.
Nah, they need to ban people just driving and then lowering their shoulder into people and then acting like they got fouled. And that's what they need to do.
Or
Mars. Curry. The only thing that would affect Curry.
I don't know how he brought up Curry, but
I got to be thinking about hand checking.
Take that out of the game. Ain't no way you allowed to lower your shoulder into someone and you got fouled. Nah.
And not only lower your shoulder into somebody, Mars, initiate the contact and then bump that guy off you. So I'm coming down the gut and I'm getting this. The ball's in this hand and I'm getting you off me like I'm a running back running through the gut, and then you get fouled. That's not a foul on the defense.
That's either a no call or an offensive foul. There's no way
there's no way you're doing that. I've seen Paul George come down the gut, cuff the ball like this, and bump a guy off. Literally bump him like this. And get a foul call to get to the rim, and it wasn't an offensive foul.
How do you change defenders? You just call it an offensive position on that too. Like
the defender's in front, and then you just lower your shoulder and truck them, and all of a sudden the defender fouls you. Like, no, that doesn't make sense.
I feel like the rule is the way it is because think about like how to just say like, okay, this is a foul and this isn't a foul without leaving a gray area. Because right now it's you have to, as a defender with a guy going up for a shot, you have to be in your spot first and you have to jump straight up and down. You cannot jump from point A and land in point B and make contact with someone. That's a foul. And like, I think it's kind of stupid. I think if I jump from point A to point B, and obviously I think about like the Josh Hart and one. Did y'all see that Knicks Pistons game at the very end? Josh Hart during jump straight up. He jumped up, but he did go from point A to point B. I don't think like that. That seems dumb to me that it's a foul. But how do you like create the rule? Like, what do you write down in the rule of what is and isn't a foul? Like, oh, he can only jump so far.
It's called verticality.
Yeah, but verticality means you have to jump in point A and land in point A as well.
Right.
Duran didn't do that. I don't like it either.
Duran didn't do that. He jumped forward.
He jumped forward, but he
they're saying his momentum carried him into the body of your opponent.
Exactly. But like, I don't like it too. I wish it was better. But what do you do?
There's nothing that you really could do.
I mean, we understand when offensive players take jump shots, they jump forward. And then if you land in their landing space, it's still a defensive foul. We can understand that. It's the same thing for defensive players. You can't just jump straight up and down. You're not going to get as much momentum going up. You just got to understand that when people jump, there's going to be a forward motion. It's just like it's common sense of body physics. It's like when they call offensive fouls on three-point shooters because their leg swings. When anyone who knows if you shoot towards your dominant hand, your leg is going to swing out just to align yourself. That's just common sense. Like, I don't know how to either you understand how the human body works, or you played basketball before and you understand what happens when you do certain things. And those are the people who should understand how to make the rule. Like, it doesn't make sense that you expect someone to be able to jump towards protecting the rim just straight up and down and expect them to get enough momentum to alter a shot. Like, they're gonna go forward. It's just natural.
It's like Josh Hart. I equate what Josh Hart did to a small car crashing into a big car. When the small car creates the contact, what's gonna happen? The smaller car is gonna get the brunt of it. So that doesn't mean that the big car should have to suffer. And that's what happened with Jalen Duren. Sure, it looked like it was, even though Josh Hart was creating the contact because he was going to the basket.
Yeah,
He was. I think Jalen Duren, when he was going straight up, his momentum brought him a little bit forward. But I think that was more to brace himself, because if I do go straight up and down, he's probably going to get hit, and then it would have been an offensive foul. But they wouldn't have called that because they already blew the first call. So it looked like they had to make that up.
No, that was a terrible. Yeah, whatever.
I want to comment back on just the lower and the shoulder stuff. You know how big and strong these dudes are?
Extremely.
Like,
oh yeah,
all the top scorers in the league are exceptionally strong. And when they're able to lower their shoulder while they have the momentum going forward, and you're either backpedaling or sliding, it's impossible to guard you that way. Mars, you mentioned Shea. That's a lot of the reason why Shea's able to get off what he gets off. When he puts that shoulder into you and then manages to step back too, not only is he pushing your momentum back this way, but then now he's stepping back. You know, like he's created so much separation, you can't do nothing. And then if you do recover from that, that's when he hits you with that hezzy up fake, and they can go right back around you too. That right there, lowering the shoulder and being able to, you know, manipulate your defender in that way, that's caused so much just shot creation and just ability to really be unguardable for a lot of these guys. What are you gonna do when Kawhi's coming down on you and lowers his shoulder into you? You know how strong Kawhi is?
To your point.
And I have no problem with bumping someone. Sorry, Joe. I have no problem with like bumping someone. But if you are actively tucking the ball, lowering, like if you like, there's no reason why a 6'11" guy is ducking down to 5'2" to lower his shoulder into someone's abdomen, and then all of a sudden he's the one who got fouled. Like that's illegal. I don't care.
Here's a thought. Here, because I think a lot of times what we like when two guys are going toward the rim, it's tough. You know, they're both jumping to the same spot. There's contact. A lot of times I feel like they let it go. But one thing we do see is, like you said, guys tucking the ball and then deviating their path from the rim to create that contact and then get the separation. And I think like that's part of the game to lean into a guy. But I think when we see guys launch themselves away from their path of the rim and they to create that contact and bump someone off and then go up, like, I mean, that's something that could be changed. Maybe not just the contact, but like, I don't know how you define launching yourself though. That's the only thing, but.
I mean, I saw to your point, Ron, about how strong these guys are. I mean, I saw Kawhi Leonard in person. He looked like a tight end, yo. For real, he looks like he can play pro football. How big this dude is. You know what 6'6", 225, 230 pounds looks like. Like, this dude is huge. And I'm trying to imagine him coming downhill on a smaller guard, right? On somebody that's 6'4", that's 6'2". He's bowling you right over. There's really nothing that you can do with him.
Yeah, it's tough. Moving along, though, Chris sent through a super chat and said, who's the most criticized athlete in your lifetime? Who's the most protected athlete in your lifetime? Who you guys got?
I think the most criticized athlete in my lifetime is James, because of the era that he played in and because of the expectations and everything that was going on. I think the most protected athlete during that time was Jordan. There's a lot that I found out about Jordan that I did not know until later on in life. A lot. And to this day, I'm on record saying it. Michael Jordan would not have survived in the era today that he survived in years past. There's no way he would have survived it. None whatsoever.
Swiper, you look mad, bro. You look affected.
I'm trying to think, man. I'm trying to think. Peak criticism I've ever seen for an athlete that I felt that, given what happened, was just not just, was Tiger Woods. That's probably the most criticized I've ever seen anybody in 2009. That was insane. Like, I don't know if people remember, like, they were running ESPN specials on this man's private life and basically talking about him as like the horrible, horrific person. And then on top of that, you know, talking about him and then affecting his golf and does it change his golf legacy and stuff. Again, I remember I was in college, like I was eating dining hall in between practices. I would be watching ESPN and they were running slates on him getting hit over the head with a golf club, talking about what does this do for his golf legacy, like will he win another Masters and stuff. So I've never seen anything like that in my life. But obviously, you know, basketball criticism is going to be LeBron. Most protected, man, it's got to be one of these dudes in, you know, probably a Yankee. One of these dudes might be Jeter or something like that.
No, Swiper. Jeter's on record saying if we had cameras like we had when I was coming up, he said he would have been out of the league in 3 years. He said that. He said he would have been out of the league in 3 years had what we have today we had back then. He's on record saying that.
Derek Jeter said that?
He said that. He said that if they had cameras and they had the stuff that they have today, he said I would have been out of the league.
Oh, just because of what he was doing off the field?
Oh, he said he was super wild. He was super wild.
Hey, Slim, Derek Jeter grew up in a hell of a time.
Yeah,
in New York City. In New York City, one of the biggest superstars.
Yes.
Like, hey,
doing some crazy junk, I'm sure.
Yes. 100%.
Oh, man. I'll throw this out there. I don't know if I have a most protected athlete that's popping into my brain, but Russell Westbrook catches so much criticism. And I know it's because of part of it's because of the way he plays. He's erratic. Oftentimes you're like, what? Like, that's not, think a little bit before you act. But even all the criticism about him being a bad teammate, like that was crazy to me. And then like you would see all these different interviews, because I remember that was a narrative for a little bit, is that Russ is a bad teammate. And then I saw this compilation of literally probably 20 different guys that play with Russell Westbrook, and they were saying, ask him just who was your best teammate. And they weren't all guys that were still on the Thunder. A lot of them had come and gone, and they all said Russ. Literally every single person.
In the 16 years that Russ been in the NBA, have you ever heard a teammate say something bad about him?
Not bad. I think that started though because they asked KD who his best teammates were, and he didn't name Russ. And I think I don't know whether he did it on purpose or whether other guys just came to his brain, or maybe they were still beefing, because I know right when he left, they went at it on the court. I don't know if that was just hoop, at the end of the day, sometimes I had a teammate in college that we lived together, and we would almost fight a few times a year. And then right after practice, it was just yo, you want to get a 4-for-4 from Wendy's?
He said he loved Russ. He said he would love to talk to Russ. This was right after the incident.
It started with Skip Bayless.
He did.
Bayless,
yes,
he was
did.
the one pushing. Oh, KD didn't want to play with Russ. He didn't like that. Russ thought he was the man on the team. Blah, blah, blah. There was no evidence for anything he said. He just said it, and then everyone ran with it. And then that KD interview about his best teammates, I think he named Serge Ibaka instead of Russ. And then the interview was you didn't say Russ. And he's and then KD, the moment he realized he forgot Russ, he said, Russ is in there for sure. Yeah. That's what happened. So, it's shout out to Skip Bayless, man. That's two narratives he's managed to make that have no validity that people run with.
What's the other one?
That Draymond Green was crying to KD in the car, calling for him to join the Warriors. Not true. But no one has said anything about that being true. He just made that up, and all of a sudden it's just true. So that, and KD wanted to leave Russ because Russ thought he was the man. Another thing that's not true.
Hey, man,
shout out to him.
Some country that's maybe in a dictatorship and they're trying to push some propaganda, they got to hire Skip. My man creates narratives and no one asks questions.
And the LeBron James killer instinct and clutch thing that he's managed to push for 20 years. Somehow that's still going.
The mentally weakest athlete of his generation. What, Skip?
Yeah, but that's three. He's made three. He's made three narratives that people can look.
What's happening?
I don't believe that.
That's impact right there. That's impact.
People that believe that, they're already looking for something to latch on to defame LeBron or whatever player Skip's talking about. But I do live for him sassily throwing away his Cowboys jersey every year. That's great. It always hits, never missed.
RJ the God said, "Hey, chill. Are you out on the Clippers because they won't meet your expectations, the media's hype, or possibly both?"
Well, what did this unit get together for? When Kawhi Leonard told Paul George, if you come to the Clippers, I'm going to the Clippers. He didn't just come there because he's from Los Angeles. He went to the Clippers to win it. That was the expectation. It wasn't just because we're going to be a good team and we're talking about a guy who just came off winning finals MVP in the NBA championship. And we're talking about another guy who was at that point playing at a top 5 level. We're going to get together and we're going to win this whole thing. And we're going to take Los Angeles over. That was the idea. So when they come together and you see what happens in the bubble and they go to pieces, and then the next season, Leonard tears up his knee. And then the year after that, he doesn't play. The expectation now, it's more of a disappointment because the expectation didn't change. The idea was these guys winning the NBA championship. And then you add Russell Westbrook to the roster. Then you add James Harden to the roster. Let's make sure we remember, folks, the Los Angeles Clippers have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden on their roster. What is the expectation for this unit with those 4 guys on the roster? Because I can tell you what it's not. It's not just to win games.
So what's you're a Cavs fan, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not a Cavs fan.
He's a fan of no one.
No.
You're a basketball fan. Okay.
Love of the game.
Well, okay. Let's talk about what's the expectation for Cleveland.
I think their ceiling this year is the Eastern Conference Finals.
So you want them to have an opportunity to win a championship.
I don't think they're there yet.
Okay.
I
maybe
think
Cleveland's a bad example.
What you talking about? We can have that conversation in another year when they get a little bit closer.
Okay.
I'm just
the point I was going to make is I think in the NBA, all you can ask is to, like, if you're putting together a team that you want to make a championship run with, you just have to be put in a situation to win a championship. I think like making a conference final is, I don't think you like, oh, hooray, like we made the Western Conference Finals, whatever. But can you, like, it's basketball. Stuff happens. Obviously, we see with the Clippers, all that, they've had so many health issues. Like, we've never seen them fully healthy from 2020 to 2023. Like, this is the first year. Have they been fully healthy for a season?
Yeah.
Since then?
Yes. Since 2020?
So yeah, since the bubble.
No, they in the playoff they had injuries 22, 21, and 23.
Yeah.
And then
so
more than likely in 24.
It's basketball. Like stuff happens. I don't know. My thing is, like, I don't think it's ever fair to put on any team, no matter how super team they are, to say it's championship or it's bust. Like, it's
wait a minute though, Slim. Then what are we getting together for? That's exactly why we're getting together. They got Kawhi Leonard into Los Angeles off the strength of what he had done in Toronto and what he had done when he was in San Antonio. He brings that championship pedigree. They had just gotten a new owner, and that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to rid themselves of the stigma of who the Clippers were. And now you want to add Paul George to that, who was battling Kawhi Leonard battling LeBron James throughout the decade to win championships. But he ended up tearing up his leg, but then he got healthy. So now he's playing at a top 5 level again. They're not getting together because the idea is just to be good and to maybe do this. No, we have one of the best chances with these 2 guys together. And if we can stay healthy, we expect to be there. That's what expectations are.
But I'm saying, Paul George, the reason I bring up 24, Paul George is already hampered. Like, he's already dealing with something right now.
Sure.
So who knows how long this is going to linger? So let's say it does linger into the playoff, which is kind of what happens when you're this late in the season. They're just going to have things they're going to have to deal with. And I think it's not their fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's just that right now, at this point in time, they just have not been able to get these guys on the court, stay on the court. But I think their expectation is to win a championship because they have one of the highest payrolls in the NBA. They're getting a brand new stadium and a brand new rollout for all their branding next year. Like, there's a reason why Steve Ballmer is putting all of this money into the franchise and into these players, and now going to re-sign Paul George, re-sign James Harden, probably re-sign Kawhi Leonard. That's a lot of money to tie into a team when you have 3 Hall of Fame players first ballot, and then you have Russ, first ballot Hall of Famer, coming off the bench. They have one of the deepest teams in the NBA. They got a great coach who won a championship in Ty Lue. If we're not trying to win a championship, we're just out here for vibes.
It's not a matter.
What?
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I was going to say Steve Ballmer is not paying all that money out just for them to maybe be able to put a tough second-round matchup together versus some of these teams.
That's not
and my point is not saying that's not the expectation and that's not like the MO for the team. I'm saying if the expectation is met or is not being met, what do you do? Like, if they get bounced in the Western Conference Finals, say they take the Nuggets to 6 games and they lose 4-2, do you blow it up? Because if it's like, oh, the expectation hasn't been met for 5 years, so you don't blow it up. So then what's the point of the expectation of it's championship or their failures?
Well, just because you don't.
I'm not talking about the expectation of the team. I'm talking about the expectation coming from us as fans.
The reason why we had this expectation is because what you put together. We don't expect the Charlotte Hornets to win the NBA championship because of what they have down there. But when we see the Clippers and we see what they put together and what those guys have done, we expect as a collection for you guys to, at minimum, get to the championship. And if you don't win it at the end of this, you got to try again. We can't just go, okay, because you lost,
Right.
that's it. No, that's the idea.
And there's a reason too, Chill. They signed 3 centers. They have 3 centers on the roster for the Denver matchup. So like they know what their weaknesses are, and they try to address those things. That's why they've been so heaven bent on keeping Terrence Mann on the roster for POA defense, even though I don't think he's the hoopla they're making about a 27-year-old and all that stuff. I get it, but their mind, they're like, we got Kawhi, we got Paul, and we got Terrence Mann. We got more than enough wing defenders. Now we have 3 centers. Now we have one of the best playmakers of all time in James Harden and Norm coming off the bench and other players. So for them to like, there's no excuse. Right. We should be able to win a series versus everybody because they think they got the best player or arguably the best player in every series they walk into.
Yeah, that's fair. The only point I was trying to make is like all you can do is put yourself in positions to win championships. And obviously inconsistency with roster ish happens as basketball, but like I think if they make a Western Conference Finals this year and they go out to a really, really good Western Conference team, because the West is the West. It's really, really good this year. I don't see that as like, oh man, that's a failure of a year for LA. Personally, I think you just got to put yourself in opportunities to win.
I don't think they've ever been too. So I think some of this is like, if not now,
yeah, they've never been. That's fair.
Yeah,
well, then I'll ask my question again. When do you blow it up?
Actually,
when you decide all these aging superstars, it's not going to work.
They were in 21. They was in the Western Conference Championship when Kawhi.
The Western Conference Finals, yeah, in the bubble, right? Yeah.
No, the next year. The next year, not in the bubble. The next year.
Okay.
When Kawhi went down versus
they lost to Phoenix.
Okay, that's right. Either way, my point is like, if they're just continuously not meeting expectations, at what point do you blow it up? Because I think they're putting themselves in a position to win a championship, and that's all you can ask for.
Well, we are in year 5, I believe.
I
think this is year 5 that we're in. So, I mean, something has to happen. We can't just keep getting to the playoffs or getting to the Western Conference semifinals. And no, that's not the plan. We got to at some point win this. So, I mean, there's some decisions that have to be made. But what you can't do is you can't blow it up now. And the reason why you can't blow it up now is because we're moving into a new arena. That's like moving into a new house and quitting your job. No, can't do that.
That's fair.
Hell no.
Yo, Slim, it's more implications too than just them putting a roster together and everybody, having max contracts and stuff like that. You also got to look at the names that are at stake. You got Kawhi Leonard, who he has a good career. Outside of that, Paul George, no rings. Russell Westbrook, no rings. James Harden, no rings. Even Ty Lue, he got a ring with LeBron, but now can you do that without LeBron? LeBron carried you to a ring. So it's a lot of
pressure.
narrative.
There's pressure.
A lot of pressure. And the thing about it is too, it's not that it's necessarily just pressure, but it's pressure with a time clock on it too. Like you guys can't do this for Kawhi. It's a chance that you break down. Paul George, it's a chance that you break down. James Harden, you too. Russell Westbrook, you're 34, 35. These guys are now old too. So it's like you guys don't got 10 more. Like the Celtics can lose this year, and they got 10 more years to possibly run something off. The Clippers, they're on a strict timeline. So that's why it's win now or bust.
Yeah, and I think maybe there is something to what you're saying.
Whether it's fair or not.
Huh?
Whether it's fair or not. I said whether it's fair or not.
And I think it's like if they make a finals, it probably looks different. I think even if they don't win it, everyone is probably just like, okay, it's working. It's in theory it can work. Because think about the Suns. Like, not that Devin Booker's legacy was at stake or anything, but when they made the finals and lost to the Bucks, like everyone kind of gave them a pass for a little bit of like, oh yeah, they got it figured out. Like it's just a matter of time. And I think if the same thing happens with the Clippers, you're probably right. Maybe Western Conference is just too low or like conference finals is too low of a bar.
All right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and get into our segment of the day. What we're going to do today, chat, is we're going to break down all the NBA's league leaders. And then I'm going to ask you guys, what is more impressive with these league leaders? So, and that's the league leader in every major statistical category. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And we're just going to look at all of these guys, but then also look at the guys behind them. And the gist of this whole thing is compared to other guys. Oh, well, Chill wants you to pass that. So now, yeah, we caught you in that. Pass it.
was getting dressed. Yeah, what you doing? That's what that was.
Well,
That was I was getting dressed and I wasn't ready yet. I had to put some clothes on.
You ever seen when the magician just like disappears in like a puff of smoke?
Yeah.
That's what Domo was doing right there. It was just his magic.
Abracadabra,
Hey,
voila.
Pass that, yo,
Bad.
my man. Pass that.
My bad. I had a little leftover clipper. Had a little leftover clippers in here from last night.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
Pass
All right.
that, please, sir.
It's a good night. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so it's a couple things that go into this. Obviously, how phenomenal that what the player could be averaging is, but how phenomenal it is compared to the rest of the league, and how much separation they have. But then also just context behind everything too. So I want you guys to let me know. And I'm gonna go over everything right now, just so you guys can see it, and then you guys let me know what's the most impressive to you. So obviously we got Luka averaging 34.4 points. The next person behind him is Shea at 31.2. We got Sabonis averaging 13.2 rebounds per game. Next person behind him is Rudy Gobert at 12.6. Tyrese Halliburton is averaging 11.6 assists. Next person is Trey at 10.8. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander leads the league in steals, 2.1. Next person behind him is De'Aaron Fox at 1.9. And Victor Wembanyama at 3.3 blocks. Next person behind him is Brook Lopez, Walker Kessler, and Chet, all averaging 2.7. Those are the main categories we'll probably focus on. If you guys have something else that's just glaring, we could talk about that too. But in terms of these, what do you guys think is the most impressive?
Wemby.
Start with you, Swiper.
Oh, whoops.
Probably Wemby walking into the NBA and leading everybody in blocks by a considerable margin. I mean, given the fact that he's came in at 19 years old, and is turned into, what is he, second in DPOY odds right now? Is that where he's ranking right now, Mars? Do you remember?
Is he?
I believe so. But Rudy is
he
like
that?
so far.
Rudy's
Rudy is
like
so
a
far
minus.
in one that's like
Yeah.
Yeah, Wemby's second,
Yeah.
but really it's like a unanimous decision at this
Yeah,
point.
Rudy's like a minus that 1,000 or something like that.
But Wemby is technically second,
Yeah. So that just goes to show you, like,
Anthony Davis. Wow. Okay, I'm with you.
yeah, ahead of Anthony Davis not anchoring the top. Never mind.
Okay.
Gassing the Anthony Davis thing at this point because they're not a top 10 defense, by the way.
No.
But yeah, some of this is some of this is Wemby's been incredible, man. Like, I just think Wemby has like met all the expectations and surpassed them. So I probably would say Wemby just as a rookie being able to be that high that list.
Damo?
Oh, well, Malik Beasley averaging 45% from three after leaving Los Angeles. I think that's the most surprising or whatever you want. I don't really know what you asked me. I just wanted to call that out because that is insane how he couldn't hit the side of a house on the Lakers, but now he's shooting 45% on reasonable volume with that slow jumper in Milwaukee. Nah, I'm with Swiper. I'm not going to lie. Wemby's probably is the most impressive. I knew he was tall. He's long, pause. I knew he would be an impactful defender, but to be, from my point of view, honestly, outside of Anthony Davis, to be the defensive player of the year out the gate is crazy. I mean, instantly he had a case. Like from game 1 through 20, you were sitting there like, nah, it's reasonable for him to be considered one of like the best defensive big man in the NBA. That's insane to me. The switchability, the versatility, impacting shots on the perimeter and at the rim, wherever it is, it's just wild. And I don't think it's something that people can adjust, like get used to. I know we had a conversation before, whether it was yesterday, a day before, something like that. I give it a year before teams adjust to Wemby. It might not have been on here, but people saying in a year or two, people will adjust to Wemby, have film on him, know how to attack him. I don't care how much film you watch. When you see 7'8" with a 7'11" wingspan, how much practice can you have for that? So
it's
this
crazy.
is going to be
The wingspan you just gave him is smaller than his actual wingspan. Crazy.
The exaggeration actually wasn't
Your
enough.
exaggeration wasn't enough.
How do you practice for that? You don't.
Yeah, you
so
don't.
this is at least on a defensive. Offensively, maybe you can draft the guy or come up with a scheme to slow him down eventually in his career. Defensively, there's nothing you can do with this for real.
You guys know what's crazy? It's like, let's say Wemby was Rudy Gobert on offense. He would still be a very, very good player moving forward.
Yeah, he's still getting paid a lot of money.
just because of what he does he literally checks almost every box that you could check, especially for a guy that size. Like he does everything.
Is there another guy in the
now
league
you pair that with the offense?
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there another guy in the league that you feel as comfortable guarding 1 through 5 as you do with Victor Wembanyama? I'd say maybe Anthony Davis or
Bam.
Giannis.
Bam.
Bam over all those dudes.
Bam.
Over AD?
Yes.
I'm not as comfortable with Wemby switching on the perimeter as
Yeah,
maybe
there's
other
Wemby,
people.
yeah.
Not today.
But-
I mean, it's just recovery wise, like he
Yeah, but I mean, if you ask
didn't
me,
need to stay in front. Like
if you give me any big and the scheme is we switch everything, the big I would pick would be Bam. But
That's
I
fair.
think I do think Wemby would still provide probably more value defensively long term than Bam because just of the stuff he can do around the rim. I'm not as high on Bam's paint protection as a lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. And this is a little off topic, but who would you rather have guard Jokic, Bam or Wemby? I'm taking Wemby.
I'm taking Wemby.
I'll take Bam because I think as smart as Joker is, I think he'll take advantage of Wemby because Wemby doesn't really know the game yet.
Well, I think when Wemby played Denver, they only played once so far. They played another 1 or 2 times. I think he had
Wemby
10
played well.
stocks.
Yeah, Wemby
I think he
played
had
well.
10 stocks that game.
He had what?
10 stocks.
I know he got a bunch
10.
of steals. I don't know how many blocks
Oh.
yet, but I remember he was playing every pass and lane base. And Jokic had to adjust to Wemby's length.
Mhm.
It's like
That's the
just
thing.
Some,
It's
of,
like
some
he's
of the
gonna
passing
get
windows
shot
that are
over.
normally there, they're not there when you
Yeah.
have a guy
He's
with
gonna-
a 22-foot wingspan.
It don't matter who's guarding him. He's going to meander his
That's how you
way
exaggerate.
with like,
Not
yeah, that's
fair.
closer. He's going to find his way to like right under the hoop with a little bit of like half spins and hezzies and whatever. And like, he's going to get there regardless, whether Bam's guarding him or Wemby's guarding him. So I'm just taking the length, just more bothersome up top. But I got to bring up, y'all, Luka's, I'm a Dallas fan. I was born and raised in Dallas, like Mavericks fan. So bias goggles are on, but is it not insane that Luka is leading the NBA in points and is also the only other guy who is top 5 in assists as well? And I know you can point at usage rate, but like last time we saw someone do that, they were like a unanimous MVP in Jokic.
No.
I don't know. Maybe not unanimous, but like Jokic won the MVP and it wasn't close. When's the last time a guy?
Where did James Harden rank in assists in like?
Yeah, became Drew Harden 17-18.
Oh,
yeah.
What did he? Was that the year he won the MVP?
Yeah,
In 2018. Yeah.
Okay, point still stands.
I mean,
You know, like-
points
But they were the 1 seed that year?
They won 65 games.
2018, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and that gets down to what you think the MVP should be about, how important being on a winning team is for the MVP.
Wow, Luka been a top 3 player in the NBA this year. He's been great.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been a top 3 player in the NBA for the past 3 years. Like, I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Maybe top 5 if you push it back a little bit, but a guy averaging 34 a game. Think about do you remember that game against the Knicks when it was a crazy comeback and it was the missed free throw on purpose and he grabbed it in the air?
Last year, that was
Yeah.
the 60-20 10
Yeah.
game.
He had 52 in that game, I think.
60.
He had 60.
And 20.
It's
It's stupid. White swiper. What we doing with this dude, yo?
It
What is
was
happening right now? Come on, man. This is
Yo.
goofy with this dude, yo.
Like
What's
60
happening right now? It's
60
and
might-
20.
60 is still a headline for Luka, but Luka puts up 45. It's another day of work.
He
Like,
did that
it's-
last night.
Yeah, he had.
Or, no,
what do you have?
was that last night or 2 nights ago?
Against the Cavs, 2 nights.
Well, I got to see what he had last night because they played last night too.
Yeah,
They were back to back.
34 last
He had like 30, like 16 assists or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16
It's
assists, 11
another
rebounds.
day of work,
Well,
and like,
3 real rebounds.
and I hate to be that guy that's
Nah,
like,
some
no
of his
one's
rebounds were legit last
talking
night. I
about
didn't know.
this
Some of
because
them.
like usually when people say no one's talking about this, like people are talking about it. You just want to make it seem like no one's talking about it.
Right.
But I mean, bro, 34.4 a game. And obviously his percentages are dumb. Like he's maybe the most efficient high volume player in the NBA. And then also you add to that almost 10 assists. That's to me, that's crazy. And it's like, obviously I don't want to bring in the MVP narrative completely because that's a whole other conversation, but it has to be said. He's insane.
To counter that,
So
I mean, Joker is the only guy in the league that's in the top 5 in the league in rebounds and assists. Ain't nobody else doing that but him.
Sabonis ain't top 5 in assists?
I don't think
Do we
so.
value rebounds per game the same as we value points per game now?
Yes,
I've been
he is,
trying.
Mars.
I mean,
Yes, he
oh,
is, Mars.
yeah.
Take
See,
that
look
back.
at Sabonis, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why Kendrick Perkins.
Hey,
is an
Sabonis-
MVP candidate.
Baby,
Yeah.
Sabonis
Yeah.
8 dimes a game. That's wild.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
so
yeah.
hold
Yeah,
on.
like
So
7
hold
of them are dribble handles.
That's why I was gonna
Hey.
say. That's why I was gonna say.
Pistol offense.
When you're talking about what's the most impressive, I think it's that right there with Sabonis. The fact that he's not even playing with another guy who rebounds, and he's leading the league in rebounds amongst the monsters in the league: Anthony Davis, Joker, Rudy, and he's giving up significant size to these guys every night. And I think he leads the league in. I think he leads the league in triple doubles.
Mhm.
I think he leads the league in double doubles too, if I'm not mistaken.
He does.
Yeah, but he stopped padding those double doubles. He stopped padding them.
He came
Coming
back,
in the game down 5,000 to get a rebound.
And
Yeah,
got
I'm
hurt.
sorry,
And
man.
got
That's
hurt
tax.
doing it
That's
too.
tax.
Yeah.
Nah, you down 100 to get 1 rebound just so you can keep your double streak? Nah,
That was
I
nasty,
don't respect
bro.
that double.
Mars, are you really going to sit there and act like they all don't do it? Like Steph Curry was not chasing that
And
50 last year.
I
in game
criticize it all
reason.
the time. I criticize that
So
too. I said that.
dudes do that. Dudes do that all the time. So it's
And I
not
criticize it every time I see it.
I just want to make sure that we
I'm
get
consistent.
with that. Yeah,
I'm consistent. You
sure.
down,
Wait,
you
hold
down.
on. Time out,
But
y'all.
at least if you're up, it
Let's-
makes somewhat more sense. You
let's-
down
let's
100
ask-
trying to get a rebound.
Let's
Like,
ask
come
the
on, man.
Kendrick Perkins questions. Why is Luka Doncic in the MVP race, but Domantas Sabonis isn't? And he's averaging 20, 13, and 8. And I think the Kings are. What's the standings right now, y'all? Y'all remember what the standings
They're
The
the
are?
Kings
Kings are in 7
They're the 8
Yeah.
seed. They're the 8 seed.
It's the first
They're the
number you
18.
said. I'll just say that.
They're below Dallas. So
They're
Averaging
below
20 a
Dallas.
game
They
now is
basically
like
got
averaging
They
15.
basically got the
game.
same record.
They got the
Yeah,
same record. Why are they
they
both got an
basically
MVP conversation?
Swiper.
The
Swiper.
first
Because one
number.
is
The first
significantly
number you
better.
said.
Come on.
One
One
person's
is
leading the
significantly
NBA in
Wait a minute,
scoring.
Ron. Wait a minute, Ron. Why is it
No,
ridiculous
no,
though? Why? Because you're thinking
no.
about
Because
whoa.
one is significantly
No.
better. What are we
Because-
doing?
Because you talking,
Hey,
Ron.
hey,
Because you talking about the buckets he getting. I can appreciate that. Sure.
I'm the biggest
Swiper, you know
Sabonis
what you
fan
just
up
did
here.
here. This is
I'm
disgusting.
by far the biggest Sabonis fan up here.
Right.
It's
That's
different.
not true.
I'm sorry. It's
No.
different.
Well, up here today.
It's
Up
different.
here today. That's who he is.
Oh well, yeah,
But-
up here today. Yeah.
Yeah, up
He's
here
just not.
today.
He's just
But
not
hey.
an MVP caliber player. That's it.
But he got 21 triple doubles this year. The second best playmaking big in the league.
Mars, what does that
Best
even
offensive
mean?
hub.
He's not an MVP
First
caliber
team.
player. That's what that means.
But why is Luka? They're
How?
both in 7th and
What?
8th.
What?
He's
Luka
got to be
Doncic
scoring
is
34 points a
defensive player.
game.
Sabonis
Sabonis
is
scoring
34.
20.
And
It's
Sabonis leads the
14
league in
points.
rebounding. Sabonis is
Good
leading
for
the league in
him. Good for
rebounding.
him.
Not
If
only is he
Rudy
leading the league in
Gobert
rebounding,
led the league in rebounds, I wouldn't say he's an MVP caliber.
Yeah.
but he also ain't in the top 5 in the league in assists, and he's
Yeah,
one
but
of the
guess what? He's the best defender in the league. So where do we go?
Yes, and you know what?
I
He
still
actually
wouldn't
should
call him
be.
an MVP caliber
He
player.
should be in the
No.
league MVP conversation. To be quite honest
Then
with
the
you.
conversation should be 20 people deep. Like, what are we
Hey,
doing? There's
it's
no
not.
way Rudy
I'm
Gobert's an
squashing
MVP
this.
caliber
I'm-
player. He's not.
I'm squashing this. How Luka Doncic averages how many rebounds per game? What is that?
Nine.
8.1.
Luka averages 8, yes.
8.1 rebounds per game. Sabonis averages, that's what? He averages 13, so 5 more. Luka scores 14 more points than him every single
Better
game.
true shooting for Sabonis though. He's more efficient.
Swap
And
is
he's
trolling.
shooting better from 3.
Is this
And
how
he's
people
shooting
feel when
better
I-
from 3.
I mean, if we're going to go
This-
advanced
yeah,
analytics,
yeah,
we can look
yeah.
at usage rate and then we
This
can
is
talk
huge,
about
guys.
efficiency because
In
at,
fact,
at his usage rate, Luka is the most efficient player in the league. If
I think
Sabonis was as responsible for the offense in Sacramento as Luka is for the offense in Dallas, his
they
numbers
do run
would be
the offense
worse.
through him though. They
Who
do
has
run
the-
the
who has
offense.
the-
They're
through
running the
Who has the
pistol
better-
offense, which
but-
is
but
just
who-
dribble
offense
handoffs
through
and ball
Sabonis?
But who
screen.
has the better?
Right.
Who has the better offense this season? Who has the better offense this season? The Kings.
I mean, the Kings probably because they actually run an offense. I don't think Jason Kidd is a great coach.
Oh wait, so
offensively at least.
you're saying a high pick and roll, high usage player has a worse? Oh, okay.
What?
Wait, chill. What did he do? He throw a grenade. Is that what you said?
Yes. Throwing
The
grenades
Mavericks
with-
offense is better. The
with-
Mavericks offense
with
is
5
better than the
seconds.
Kings.
Oh,
Is it?
statistically, I wouldn't mean. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
not surprising. I think the Kings run more stuff. Actually, they actually run an offense, and the Mavericks are just about let's find ways to get good opportunities for Luka and Kyrie, and that's
Wow.
pretty much it.
I wish other stars could run that offense. I wonder what their numbers would be.
I mean, well, it doesn't matter. That's what they're running.
That's
and
what they said about James Harden, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
he won an MVP. I don't know. I just
should have
think
won
it's-
3, but that's besides the
you
point.
bringing Sabonis into the MVP conversation is just heinous work. That is dastardly on y'all's part.
Sabonis is in the
That's
MVP
insane.
conversation.
ESPN did it.
He's just He's
voted
just
it.
not
What are
at
his
the top
odds?
like Luka.
Plus
No, but if
5,000?
like, this is the thing. When we say you're in the conversation, like, how many people are we throwing in the conversation?
It's 3. It's 2, maybe 3. If he's
There's a
number
difference
6,
between
he's
being in
not
the conversation.
Wait,
Whoa, hang on.
Chill. He said 2. Who are the 2?
I mean, 2, maybe 3. I said 2, maybe 3. Usually,
no,
by
no,
the
who's
end of
the
the year,
2
we
in
have
your
it narrowed
head?
down to 2.
So who are the 2 in your head? And
I
take
see.
the
I see
fan hat
Luka.
off. Take the
He's
fan
gonna
hat
say,
off.
he's
No,
gonna
no,
say
let
Luka
it
and
You don't
Jokic.
think Luka's in the conversation?
He's
No,
gonna
no,
say
no,
Luka
no,
and
no, no.
Jokic. He's
No,
gonna say
say it over here.
I mean, I put Giannis in there. I'd put, and it's early. It's early, so maybe we'll call it 4 for now. But by the end of the year, we usually
I
have it
want to
narrowed
hear
down.
your 2. You said 2. Name the 2. Stand on business.
If you had to vote for number 1 and number 2, who would be your
The
top?
season
two?
is over
Luka-
today. The
Luka
season
and
is over
Giannis.
today.
Luka and Giannis.
Luka
Luka and Giannis.
So Joker is out. No Joker. Right? Is that what we understanding? No Shea.
I mean, you put your
You had to
handcuffing
pick-
me.
yeah,
You're handcuffing
you
me
would've
and
put them all
saying,
in the
hey,
top 4.
do this thing, and then I give an answer, and you're like,
All right, okay,
oh, that's
okay.
crazy.
Okay.
He would have picked 4,
All right,
but
bet.
he
I'm saying he
made it.
pushes the 4.
Okay.
I assume he would have said
I can get
Giannis,
with that.
Luka,
All right.
Jokic.
Okay, Slim. All
I
right.
assume that's what he
Okay.
would've said.
We're there. We're here. This is what we're doing. We can do this.
This just turned into a Make-A-Wish MVP conversation, everybody.
Oh, stop it! Stop
Whatever you
it!
want.
Stop it!
Okay, Mars,
Giannis
first
is
of
the top
all,
2.
Mars, first of all, when you're talking about there's a difference between being in the conversation and realistically winning it. Would Sabonis realistically win the league MVP? No, that's not true. But can we talk about him being more valuable, being one of the most valuable players in the game? And that's the conversation.
No,
Sure.
this is what I mean. Like in 2016, was Kawhi Leonard in the MVP conversation?
He should have.
Was Russell Westbrook in the MVP conversation?
In 2016?
16 MVP?
Yes, when Steph was unanimous.
Sure. Why not?
Like, if everyone knew there was really only one candidate, me saying your name is like, oh yeah, you're playing great. Like, you're not in the conversation. We know who's going to win it.
Yeah.
Sabonis has no chance of winning it. He's not in the conversation.
Your definition of the MVP
Sabonis,
conversation is
Sabonis
very
saying
broad.
You're
It's very
playing
broad.
great, Sabonis. You're tremendously valuable to the Kings. That doesn't mean you're in the MVP
Let me ask
conversation.
my brother a question because he's having a
MVP
real great
means,
basketball.
Mars. It's not the best
No.
player in the league.
Hold on, wait.
He's not in the conversation. If you have no shot at winning the award, you're not in the conversation for the awards.
I mean, Westbrook was 4th in MVP voting that year.
And he still wasn't in the conversation for the MVP because everyone knew he was going to win.
Yo, my man Swiper has a question. What's up, Swiper? Talk to him.
We got to charge offensive foul. All right, I want to talk to my man real quick. So right now, you look at the Basketball Reference MVP tracker. It's Jokic with an overwhelming favorite, Shea and then Luka. NBA.com, it's Jokic, Shea, then Luka. And then if you look at the odd, it's Jokic and then Shea. So and then Luka. So can you help me understand for you? Why is it that you have the overwhelming favorite, not in the conversation, but you have Luka? Go ahead.
So, full disclosure, and I'm not backing off my take. I'll own what I say. I always do. I'm gonna be a man about it. I was gonna say Jokic, and Mars said he's just gonna say Jokic. So I was like, man, screw you.
Don't let Mars talk you off that. Don't let Mars talk you off that, man. Don't do that.
But hear me out. Hear me out. If you were to let me say 3, I'm saying probably, and in no particular order. I gotta throw that disclosure out there. Luka, Giannis, Joker, and I say Shea is 4. That's what I got. And anyone outside of that at this point,
this is your personal through your Mavericks glasses. This is your MVP race.
If you don't think Luka is one of the top 4 people being talked about for the MVP,
no,
you're
he's
insane.
top 3. He's top 3.
Yeah, so do I.
It's just crazy.
I said no particular order.
You can't do that. This is player's choice, brother. You got to put it in a list. Rank it.
Stand on it.
All right, fine. Ranking, yeah, I'll own it. Luka number 1. I don't care. I'm putting it out there. 34 a game and 9 assists a game and 8 rebounds, carrying. I mean, how many games has Kyrie played this year? Like 30?
37. He's missed almost 20 games.
That's what I'm saying.
So five less games than Jamal Murray. 5 less games than Jamal Murray.
And I'm going to say this too, and this goes back a little bit. We have not had a center on our roster. The Mavericks have not had a center since we drafted Derek Lively. Granted, I don't want to count all these rent-a-centers.
What's this
all right,
got to do with this year?
because now that we finally have centers, like look at what
And
happened
you're still
before
at
we
8
made.
seed, 7 seed.
Yeah, because
You're
we
still
started
in the
Dwight
game.
Powell at the 5
Look
for
at the
40
injuries they've
games.
look at
This
the
year?
injuries
Yes,
they've been
this
dealing
year.
with though. Look at the
Sorry, not this
injuries
year.
they've
No
been dealing with.
problem.
Well,
But guess what? But wait a minute. If Luka, hold on. And this is me just pushing back. I think Luka's top 3, just to be clear. But if Luka is the guy you said he is, if Luka's
Yeah.
the guy you believe he is, if
Yeah, I
Luka's the
do.
best player in the world, if Luka's the MVP, why are you sitting down there with the Lakers? Why are you sitting down there with the Warriors? Why are you sitting down there with the
Bro,
King? Why
look
are
at
you
the
sitting
roster.
down there?
Damo, why you don't like that? Damo, why do you not like
That's what
that,
I'm trying
Damo?
to
What's your
figure
problem
out.
with that,
That's what
Damo?
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
talk
figure
to
out.
me.
Terrible
Talk to
logic.
me.
I know.
That's
I don't
such
believe it.
terrible
What's your
logic.
problem with that, Damo?
I'm just
Why your
putting
face
it
like
out
that?
there.
Oh,
They're-
one
No,
guy-
my
they're
issue.
about-
My issue
They're
is
about a
Swiper
game
just
back
said
from
it.
the 5 seeds, and they've been injured the whole year. Like that's
Swiper
this
just
is
sat here and said what my issue with that is. He's just saying it to say it. He doesn't even believe it. He's
I
just
think
throwing
he's
it
top
out
3.
there.
He's clearly
It doesn't
top
even make
3.
sense.
If
That's
he
why
wins
I'm
the
like, what are we
MVP, he's
talking about?
deserving of the MVP.
No, not you. We're talking about
Okay.
Swiper. Swiper just said it. Oh, I don't believe it. I think Luka is this. I'm just saying it. That's what the fucking face is for. We're just saying stuff. What? What are we talking?
But
We're just
if he
saying
wins the MVP, he deserves it. He perfectly deserves
That's
it.
what the
He just
face
ain't
is for,
gonna win
Chill.
it. He just ain't gonna win it. That's just he's just not gonna win it. We just know he ain't gonna win it. But he's a great player. He deserves to love. He's been top 3 this year. But we know if we take the Dallas Maverick glasses off, he's not winning it. Respect to you. Respect to Luka for sure.
Your reasoning is because the team is seated.
No,
They
my
haven't
real,
won
my
enough
real
games.
reasoning, he's not been better than 2 other players this year. That's for me. That's my reasoning. And they're not.
He
better.
hasn't been
That's
better
for
than
me.
Shea.
I don't think personally. I think Shea's been better. I legitimately think Shea's been better. Personally, just me. That's me. That's me. You can stand on business if you want. This season, regular
crazy.
season, I'm taking Shea. This
That's
season, I'm
crazy.
taking Shea.
I love Shea. Don't get me wrong. I think he's
What has
a
Shea
great
done better
player.
than Luka? Play defense.
Maybe. And if we want to go statistically on defense, and I'm not a big fan of defensive statistics without context, but Luka averages in terms of like points scored per isolation on defense, top 10 in the NBA. In terms of points scored per post up on defense, number 1 in the NBA, boasts the highest turnover rate too. And I'm not going to sit here and say Luka's a great defender, but we're not going to sit here and says he adds no value, because those 2 areas, I don't even think that's where he's at his best on defense. I think he's a super savvy passing lane help defender who is his understanding of the game helps his timing and when he decides to gamble so much. And that's why those turnover rates are so high, because he knows what people are going to do before they do it. Because think about the way he sees the game on the other side. He sees it the same way defensively. He knows what looks people are trying to get. But
Where was his understanding of the game when it was time to contest a Max Struz 50 per?
you don't want to foul. No, first off, I will address that. You don't want to. The last thing you want to do is contest a 3/4 court shot at the end of the game, because if you do that and you foul him, you're giving them, rather than 1 chance to win the game, you're giving him 3 shots to tie it up or win it. That's 3 chances.
Then
versus 1
defend without
Take the
fouling.
1 chance. Stand by.
Defend without fouling. Is it that difficult? You can't just contest.
I mean,
without fouling?
someone got a hand up, but if you get too close to him, just the possibility of a foul is enough.
Ain't the Mavs have their challenge?
I don't know. But
They
at the
did.
same time,
They did have a challenge. They did have a
Wait,
challenge.
can I,
at the end of the
let
game.
me ask a follow-up question. I just want to end it. I'm going to end it. Can I? We're having fun, all this other stuff. Okay, if you think it's better than SGA, no problem. Do you, sir? Let me can I get a close up? Thank you. Can you give an ISO? I want to ask
Put me on the big screen.
1-4 flat. 1-4 flat. 1-4
on the big screen.
Yo, Swiper. The way to get that is just say, you got to lower your voice and say, hey, put me on the big screen, Ron.
That's it. Put me on the big screen.
Let me ask my brother this question. Has he been better than Nikola Jokic this season? I just want to hear it. Go ahead. Now you can bring him back up. I don't want to see his answer. Go ahead.
you're not going to like my answer. I mean, I think it's a toss-up. Truly, I think it's a toss-up. I'm putting Luka there because when players are both superstars and they are the usage rate, central focus of an offense, it does not get higher than, I mean, pretty much the 3 guys, maybe not Shea, but Luka, Giannis, and Jokic are the 3 biggest focal points of any offense of any NBA team. I don't care. I maybe there's another guy I'm missing, but those 3, yeah, sorry, not healthy. Whatever. When he's on the floor, correct. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, when that happens for an MVP conversation, you simply have to look at the numbers.
I don't want
And
to know all
I'm
this
getting,
usage.
and I'm getting there. You know what?
This is
Give me
player
the full
choice. I don't want
screen.
no number. I don't
Ron,
want no number.
hey,
This
Ron,
is
I'm
Oh,
player
gonna
the
lower my
choice.
voice.
hypocrisy.
Ron, I'm
Oh,
gonna
the
lower my voice.
hypocrisy.
Ron, I'm gonna lower my voice and ask me for the full screen right here.
Put me on the big screen. Put
Put me
him
on the big
on the big
screen.
screen, Ron. Put him on the big screen.
Luka Doncic has better numbers. His team performance, whatever. I'm still putting Luka over Jokic in the MVP race right now. I don't care. That's it.
And you know why? Because that's your guy.
No.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't have a case and a strong.
He does. That part I'm not going to argue. And it's close. And because it's close, I'm going to go with my guy.
But, well, okay, my guy. And then also the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
Yes.
They
don't.
They
No,
don't
do
lie.
not. No,
Especially
they don't.
offensive numbers. We have enough advanced analytics on offense, not defensively. I think there are a lot of really good defensive impact metrics, but we have enough offensive statistics to be able to say, okay, this guy can provide more to a team offensively.
But you're using
No.
analytics versus Joker for Luka?
Yes, look at the
Don't
numbers
do
this
that.
year.
No.
The analytics king is being out analyticked by Luka Doncic. It's the
I
truth.
never thought I'd hear this analytics debate.
Why, Mars?
I didn't think we'd have the
Numbers matter. The numbers
think we'd
absolutely
have-
matter.
I'm
You don't lie.
wait. Which
Numbers matter.
analytics point to Luka being the better offensive player? Like,
I
genuinely,
mean,
which one?
if you want to, we're talking
This
basic
season alone,
analytics.
Slim. This season alone,
I'm
Slim.
curious. Like
This season alone.
He leads the NBA in scoring. Leads the
Okay.
NBA in scoring. That's one. He is top 3 in assists per game. That's 2. In terms of responsibility on offense, and I gotta look into. I don't
That
want
would
to
be
take time to
usage rate.
research right now, but
That would be usage rate.
usage
okay.
rate. Okay.
No,
Oh,
And-
he
and
for sure leads
not
the league
only
in
usage rate,
I mean, he
it's
for sure
not
leads the
just
league.
usage. It's
when you
not
have a
just
guy,
usage.
it's not. But when you have a high usage rate and good efficiency, like his
Pass the
shooting
ball.
splits
What- I don't know
are
if
not
you-
even good. They're
Get
great.
Get off the pill, Swiper. Get off the pill.
ball. Get off
Get
the
off
ball.
the pill.
I can't tell you. Just because Jokic doesn't have the ball hog, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Get off the pill.
Rate is high too, and his numbers just aren't as good as Luka.
He's like
Swipe and
21st. What is he in usage this year? I can't even remember. He's not even top 10.
I'll
Swipe and
look.
slim.
Let me look. I'll look.
Swipe and Slim. Unfortunately, we have to move on. We have a rule on the show that if somebody sends through a $25 super chat, we immediately have to address it.
I'll get it. For
Jay
the
Got
people.
Game did just that. Jay Got Game said, talking about Sabonis without Ox again is the real nasty work, especially about him being MVP. Talks this panel is the Legion of Doom. Well, Jay, you know what's funny? It's the little thing where if you say the boogeyman's name 3 times, he'll pop up, and you just never know how fate works. Let me try this. Ox, Big Ox.
Probation.
Just like that.
Hey, Jay.
Just like
Hey,
that.
good looking, Jay. I'm happy somebody got my back, Jay. That's what's up, man. They up
The
here
Team
slandering.
Mexico
They up here
jersey.
slandering my man. Hey, what's up, Slim?
What's
Y'all
up, bro?
I'll see y'all let some real hoop knowers up on the show today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it. Thank you.
Of course, Morris. That goes without saying. You know.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Ox, I have to ask because I don't know if you heard that whole thing and whatnot.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, shout out to Jay for summoning you out of nowhere. I don't know how he just, but
Like
Damo
Candyman.
already popped up here like
Working up a
abracadabra
sweat, dude.
smoke. And now all of a sudden you pop up here after Jay mentions you. But we've been talking about, well,
Love it, Slim.
Swipe,
That's how
I'll
we do it
actually
around
let
here,
you
Slim.
forget the
It
argument.
goes up, brother. It does. Put you in the torture chamber. Yes,
What's
we
up?
do,
How
brother.
y'all got Slim?
Go ahead, Ron. I'm
What's
sorry.
going on?
I'm sorry, Ron, if I interrupted you. Go ahead, Ron.
Swiper was saying if Luka's in the conversation based on the numbers he's averaging, and with him leading the league in scoring and being top 5 in assists, well, then why isn't Sabonis
Top
getting
3.
more love in the MVP conversation if he's leading the league in rebounds and top 5 in assists? Do you believe that should be the case?
So I mean, that's a great question. I want to know the same thing. I want to know the same exact thing.
Because Luka,
I can tell you why.
Because Luka leading the league in scoring. That's why.
Well, I'm also
Because
think
Luke
about
is better than him.
scoring is bloated right now.
Mars,
I think
enough
it's-
with the better logic, Mars. Kobe Bryant was better than Steve Nash. Okay, enough with the better logic.
But here's the crazy
Okay.
thing: Luka is better than him, and his team's are higher seeds,
No.
and his team's been more injured. There's no argument for Sabonis. If Sabonis is the 1 seed, you could use the Steve Nash
Right.
argument, but
Right.
he's gone. But he's the
Well,
lower seed.
Mars,
Okay,
Mars.
so
I
say that then,
don't think
Mars. Don't
the
be better. That's not enough.
But he is better. He clears.
I don't think Demontis is MVP. I don't think he's MVP.
None of us
But
do.
I think I think he should get shown a little more love, a little bit more respect for what he's put in this year. I mean,
Right.
That's fair.
that goes without saying. I think he's I think he's one of the most disrespected players in the NBA. For no reason. For no reason. He doesn't do anything. He's not a headache in the locker room. He's not a bad guy off the court. He's a good guy on the court. He hasn't done anything to warrant this level of disrespect. All he does is go out there and put in work. He gets beat up every day.
What's the level of respect that he deserves, Big Ox? Like, how should we be talking about Sabonis?
It's a good question.
How should we be talking
Like the
about?
6th best center in the NBA.
Like the 4th best center in the NBA. But that's
Like
that's,
a top 5 center in the league.
He's better.
That's how we
You
should be
think
talking
he
about.
honestly?
well, you remember last year before all this started, before all the beams and all that, I was trying to tell you he's a top 5 center in the NBA.
You did say
De'Aaron
that.
Fox is. I said we got a top 5 center, top 7 point guard. I think it shows. You know what I'm saying? But I just think he deserves a little more respect. Like, I'm not saying he's the MVP, but he didn't even make the All-Star game. That's first. Like, that was just disrespectful. I think it's just,
made it over.
I think it's. We already had this conversation.
Anthony Davis,
It's
right?
Anthony Davis. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. You can't be out of the you can't be a bottom 5 seed and have two All-Stars. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to get into that too deep. All I'm saying is, like, the guy deserves a little more respect. That's it. And that's really it, bro. Like, I'm not here to make a Domantas for MVP campaign. That's not what
But
I'm
you are
saying.
here to defend your man, though. That's what you
Have
are here
to.
to do. You
Have
are here to
to.
defend your man.
I mean,
he
you
came
have to.
7th last year, so I guess he was in the conversation last year too.
See, I mean, he's consistent.
Was enough with the conversation. Just because I'm not winning it does not mean that I'm not in the conversation. So
there a
because Mars, you're
Is,
so
is Damian Lillard in the greatest shooter of all time conversation?
Oh Lord.
Yes, he is.
See, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. Okay, cool. I disagree.
I think you
The
just got to.
conversation
You guys got
starts
different
with
definitions of
Steph
what the conversation is.
If we
Mars,
just put in people
Mars,
who have no
you're-
chance to win the conversation, why are we talking about them?
Right,
That's a waste of breath.
Well, that's not how it works, Mars. That's not
No,
how it
The
Mars-
works.
conversation is when it's
because
close. It's like, oh, we need to discuss.
No,
this.
Mars, that's
Figure
not
out.
the
It's
way-
not-
I really
You're just
dislike
saying
it. I really
honorable
dislike
mentions
it.
at this
I really
point.
dislike
You're
it when
saying
you get in
honorable
these
mentions are part
moves,
of the
Mars.
conversation.
What did you
That's
guys?
all
What
we're
did you
doing.
guys? What did you guys do to Mars to get him in this?
Like,
this type of
I'm
move?
sorry. Like, if there's clearly an answer, saying someone else is really good at something that's the conversation they're in. Yes, Damian Lillard, great shooter.
Steph
Congratulations,
Curry
Dame.
is the best.
But you're not in the conversation for greatest shooter when we know the answer is one and only person. You're not.
Mars,
in the
you're
conversation.
not being logical here, Mars.
I'm
That's
not
not-
being logical.
that's
okay.
not- Well, I'm just saying, like,
You're just trying to
so-
throw people
well,
into a
well,
conversation that they have
well,
no
no.
chance of winning. Then why are we talking about you in that conversation?
Well, because this is how I look at it, right? It's like if we're gonna have a conversation about who's the best at something, right? We got to have a group of people. We got to have a case study. We have
a
to
group
have
of people who have a case to be the best. Yeah,
right. There's nothing wrong with that.
But if you have no case to be the best, you're not in the conversation.
Mars. Hold on. I think
Okay,
this is the issue. This is the issue.
Okay.
Mars, you and a lot of people, because people in the chat are agreeing with you, there is a difference on what in the conversation means. On one hand, it's okay, who is the definitive best at this? If you have a case, cool. But if not, if it's a clear answer, there is no conversation because we have a clear answer. Or from one, and I'm gonna use an analogy. Hopefully, it's not gonna be like the crack one. If there is a room, we're gonna say it's a room for the best shooters of all time. There's a room. The best shooter of all time is sitting at the head of the table. Matter of fact, there's a table. The best shooters of all time. At the head of the table is Steph Curry. He's sitting at the head. Everyone at the table, okay, whatever. Everyone at the table will be technically in the conversation. They're in the conversation. He's at the head of the table, though. It's him. That's how other people are looking at it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this.
Right.
If there's something subjective, right, like an MVP award, like the best shooter of all time, like the greatest player of all time, we can have the conversation about people who have a valid case to be at the top of that list. So if it's the greatest player of all time, the players in the conversation for most people, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem, some people will throw in a Bill Russell, some people will throw in a Kobe, whatever. But for the most part, MJ, LeBron, Kareem, right? Those guys are the ones in the conversation because those are the ones who apparently have a case to be the greatest. Larry Bird is one of the greatest of all time. He's not in the conversation for the greatest of all time because he has no argument to be the number one on that list. Damian Lillard is one of the greatest shooters of all time. No one is arguing that Dame is one of the best shooters of all time. He has no argument.
Which means he's in the conversation.
No, he has no argument to be the best shooter of all time, which means he's not in the conversation for the best shooter of all time. He's in the conversation for the best shooters of all time. Steph, Ray, Reggie, Clay, Dame, Larry Bird, KD, whoever you want. He's in the conversation for the best shooters. But when we're talking about the best at something, the only people who are in the conversation for the number, there's only one spot. The best shooter, the best player, the MVP. There's only one MVP. There's only one defensive player of the year, blah, blah, blah. The only people in the conversation for those things where there can only be one is the people who have a case to be number one. If you have no case to be number one, you're not in the conversation. It's like when they said DeMar DeRozan in 22 was in the MVP conversation. He had no case to be the MVP.
So why was he in it then, Mars? Then why was he in it then?
Because as we knew in 2022, the MVP was a discussion between Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. That was it. No one else was going to win the MVP. It was those three. They were the ones who were in the MVP conversation. What DeMar DeRozan was, what Luka Doncic was, what Steph Curry was, what Steph Curry was having this long. What Luka Doncic, DeMar DeRozan, and anyone else who I may be forgetting, what they were honorable mentions. They're there. They're going to be 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever. But they weren't in the conversation for being the MVP because they had no case to be the MVP. If you have no chance to be at the top of that list, you're not in the conversation to be at the top of the list. The only people who are in the conversation are the people who have a case to be the number one. That's it.
So, but more. So my thing,
defensive player of the years, whatever. That's it.
So just like Kawhi Leonard didn't have a case for league MVP in 2016.
So there was no conversation outside of Steph.
Even though the way he played in all the numbers that I ran down for you,
he played great.
Even though all the numbers that I ran down,
no case for number one. None.
That's crazy. That's the issue that I'm having. It is crazy, and the reason why it's crazy is off the strength that the way he played. I'm not saying that he was going to win it, but there was a legit conversation about who he was during that time.
A great player. No case for number one.
That's just not true. The reason why that's not.
I guess the voters just seem to disagree with you because guess what? They all voted for one person number one. 100%. Because he was the only one who had a case for number one.
They were wrong.
There's certain
voters get it wrong, and voters get it wrong.
They do get it wrong. They just did it that time. He had no case for number one.
Friends, we have to come off this because we have super chats, and also after this, we're going over to playback to watch the very best All-Star game of all time and a dunk contest that's been very controversial. We will go and see what a real 50 is and what's not a 50. So you guys be tuned. We're gonna do that in about 13 minutes to be precise. Before we go over there, well, I'm gonna put up a poll. I have my good friend Chilltown queue up the best All-Star games that comes to his memory. As you know, Chilltown has one of the most impeccable memories that man has ever seen, dating back to the Stone Ages and whatnot. But he told me 01, 88, 93. And 87. So I'm gonna put up a poll. You guys are gonna vote on those, and then we'll go from there.
Just so y'all know, 93 went into overtime. 93 and 87 went into overtime. Those two games.
No 96.
Didn't 03 go into double overtime? Or
and 03, I was thinking about 03 too. 03 went into double overtime. Yes, sir.
That was the year where MJ basically hit a game winner, and I think who was it? Someone fouled on Kobe's game time attempt, and that's why I went to overtime.
Chilton, what year was it that Scotty won the MVP?
94 in Minnesota.
94. Okay, I thought it was 96, 94. We should be watching that one. That's the one we should be watching. 94.
And if I was I'll vote 87.
Hey, we should just watch the Rising Stars battle between Deion Waiters and Tim Hardaway Jr. Honestly,
that was fire. That was fire.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna run that poll here in a second. I also want to let you guys know if you haven't liked the video yet, what you waiting for Christmas? What you waiting for? Slap that like button. Also, happy leap year. It is February 29th. We see these once every blue moon.
Happy birthday, Tyrese Halliburton.
Is it his birthday?
Yeah.
He's the only guy like
turned 6 today.
I was about to say, what is he, like 6 or 7?
Yep, he's 6.
He'll be born on February 29th. Only a guy like
if you were born on leap year like 29th, would you celebrate your birthday on February 28th or March 1st?
I'd celebrate
Oh.
on March.
Man, this is.
I'm taking it a step further than that. I'm
really,
a
I'd
little-
really
celebrate on
embracing
March
debate.
I'm a little
I'd
slow
celebrate
when
on March.
I'm a little slow when it comes to this. My birthday only shows up every 4 years. So does that mean I don't age for 4 years? How's that
You
work?
would. Are you sure you're not born on a leap year, Cho?
I am not born on.
Maybe you're like 200 for real. Yeah, just maybe.
As far as
I'm
I know,
picking
I
the
don't think-
28th.
I'm picking March 1st because
I'll
it's the
find
day
out.
after the 28th is my birthday, so I wouldn't pick it on the 28th. The day after the
Fine.
28th is my birthday, so I'll just go March 1st.
I'm loyal to my birthday month. I got to go February.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean that makes sense, but my birthday's after the 28th, so it would
Yeah, I
have
don't
to be the
know.
day after.
You jump around from team to team, so I know loyalty. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I have no allegiance to the month of my birthday. My birthday's changed on this show like 17 times.
At least.
Yeah, I've had like I've had like 4 birthdays since I've been on this show this season.
Matter of fact, happy birthday, Moy.
happy birthday,
No, my
Mars.
birthday's actually next week, so
Okay.
Oh no,
That's
it's
crazy.
not.
No, because when it was my birthday on the 11th this month, you were, oh, my birthday's tomorrow. I'm like, what the hell?
And I think when
Now
it was
your
Cho's
birthday's next
daughter's
week?
birthday, I said it was my birthday too. I think.
You just
If I
like
remember
birthdays.
correctly,
It's your
in December.
birthday. That's what kind of kid you were.
That was my dad's birthday.
Yeah, I
That
had
was
to
my
make sure.
kid.
I had to make sure
You
I
was
get
the
presents
kid-
too. What we
Yeah,
talking
you
about?
was the kid that went to other people's birthday parties and your mom brought you a present too because you'll get.
Maybe that's why I never got invited to any birthday parties now.
Mars,
There it
to answer your question, I was born the year after leap year.
Oh, okay. The year 1973.
That's when I created. Let me stop.
No.
Yo, we got a new show coming soon from the logo. These guys make their best half-court attempts or shoot from wherever they feel most comfortable at, but it will be a lot of takes flying on this show, and you don't want to miss it. Starting on March 5th, right here on Player's Choice. Be sure to tap in and be ready for that. Moving along, though, we got a few super chats before we go over on the playback and really do the thing over there. Chris sent through another super chat and said, what's the best way to attack the Nuggets defense in the playoffs? Yo, Swiper, I need you to address this. And be real too, Swiper. Come on.
Elite level pull-up shooting and high level converting from 2. Like Devin Booker, he went 14 of 18 and then 20 of 25 over 2-game stretches. They won in that series. Kevin Durant obviously averaged 30 in that series, but didn't have like a lot of great games. The Heat game that they lost in the second game, he just shot 49% from 3 and won by 3. And then in the game that they lost versus the Wolves, Anthony Edwards had a really good game that game and closed out the fourth quarter with a shot from the right wing over Aaron Gordon. So you need elite level pull-up shooting from 2 that can mitigate some of those offensive waves that you're going to get over the course of the game. So they don't get to the rim a lot versus Nuggets in the playoffs. And then on top of that, their POA defense is going to be really difficult to get around. So you do need to make a lot of those conversions at some of those tougher spots, which is what all 4 of the games they lost last year. It was high-level shot making from the other team.
I don't think you can.
Do you
So what?
do you pick on?
Their
Oh, go ahead.
defense is so much better this year. Like it's scary how much better Denver's defense is this year. So
Do you
Yeah,
think
so
you can
you
pick
you
on
just
anyone?
got I think it got what's swap. You just gotta make shots. That's really it. Like you're not gonna get clean looks. You just gotta have great shooting. So if that's Steph Curry going 11 for 14 from 3 or something, you have to have outlier shooting nights to really stay with the Nuggets, in my opinion.
Go after Joker too. Go after him.
To do
Put
what?
him in put him in pick and roll. Put him in pick and pop. Drag him away from the basket. Make sure you're
It doesn't work this
But
year.
you know,
That's the problem. It doesn't
since
work.
last year, since the playoff last year, teams are shooting below basically 90 points per 100 possessions in pick and roll versus Joker since last playoffs.
So that's not going to work.
So that's
We gotta
the
He's
problem.
playing drop coverage this year too, and it works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He weren't playing drop last year because
They are playing better defense. So that's not
that's
gonna
the
work.
thing. Like last year, he had to play at the level because he wasn't a great drop big. This
Right.
year, he's playing drop. So now you've got more variety in terms of coverages you can play.
can't
Peyton
run it.
Watson is one of the best wing defenders in the league. When you've got big wings, you've got Aaron Gordon, who are like talking about matching physicality. I don't know if there's many better than Aaron Gordon defensively in that regard. I don't really like Christian Brown this year, but I mean, defensively, he can still hold his own. KCP, I've been praising his defense since he got on the Nuggets, and he's one of the best screen navigators in the NBA. just pesky guard defenders. I mean, if there was more than 4 guard spots on the all defensive team, he'd probably make it. I don't know. I don't know the avenue of attacking them other than
we can't
shooting
speed the game. We can't speed the game up.
You got to space. You got to space. It's pace and space.
Can we speed the game up with Joker? And my big man just got to keep rim running. He's got to keep rim running.
Jokic is in better shape than 95% of bigs in the league.
And he runs the floor too. He can do that. So, and it's obvious that if I go after him offensively, because Anthony Davis proved that if you go after him offensively and you go after him in terms of a scorer and score buckets on him, he's going to come back. So the best course of action is to slow everybody down. That means crowd. That means crowd MPJ. Make MPJ a longer long ball shooter, push him further away from the long ball line, make Joker a decision maker in terms of a scorer and not a passer. What we're doing is like when Jamal Murray gets the ball, when Jamal Murray gets off the peel, make sure that Jamal Murray has a difficult time getting the ball back. Push MPJ further away from the long ball line, make him shoot longer long balls. Christian Brown, put him in positions where you have to make him score. And make Joker more of a scorer than a playmaker. Because Joker, when Joker scores, with Joker scoring, he wants to play make more than anything. Even when he's in isolation, he doesn't look at just going after guys.
I think people forget. Last year in the playoff, they lost 4 games. In those 4 losses they had last year, Joker averaged 40, 13, and 10 on like a 66 true shooting. So like, I think some of this, like I said, I think you're going to have a lot of shot making, which is why the Wolves for me just don't have I don't think they have a real chance. I think the Suns, the Thunder, like those are probably your best bet. But if you got to do a lot of shot making, the Mavericks, a lot of shot making.
I think like what the Nuggets have improved on this year defensively is their scheme and the way they're doing something similar with what Minnesota does with Gobert. Is anytime there's any sort of action where you need a guy kind of playing that center field, like seeing everything in front of him and essentially reading and protecting the paint at the same time, they just always have him there. They will pre-switch things so that he can be in that role. So I think like what you have to do is, one, you want to space, and then you want to run actions involving Jokic off ball where he cannot be that guy. And whether you have to do it quick and you have to be creative or whatever sort of flare rip screen type deal you got to do in order to get a guy downhill with Jokic behind him, that's what you have to do that.
The only team who can do that is OKC.
Dama, what's up, bro? What's with the facial expressions? What do you think?
Can we please just talk about any other super chat?
Why? No. Why?
It's demoralizing that the Lakers.
No. Coming from a Laker fan, you want to know how you beat Denver? You don't. That's how you beat them. You don't beat them.
It's demoralizing.
I don't know what you want me to say. They hitting. I don't care. I still got PTSD from step back half court threes in my center's face. How do you beat it? What talking about? Oh, you got to do this. You got to do this. Nigga, we did everything last year. And they just came down, sidestep half court. What do you want to do with that?
Nothing.
I'm not trying to talk about, you got to make pull-up jumpers.
Now you really got to play. You really got to play perfect against Denver. Like you really.
Well, the entire series, big eye.
If the game's close and me and Cho, I say this every time me and Cho watch a Denver game on playback. If the Nuggets are up in the 4th quarter when Jokic comes back in, you've lost the game. You have to be up at that time. If Jokic comes in with a 1-point lead or a tie game, maybe even down 1 or 2, when they start running that 2-man game to kill you for 6 straight minutes, you're not going to win the game. You have to blow them out to win. If the game's close, you're going to lose.
You can't.
That was like
because every trip they're going to get something. Every trip they're going to get something good. Not every other trip. Every trip.
We only got a few more minutes left. We got to finish these super chats.
Yeah,
Thickest Pilot 9 said, "Love the show, guys. MJ is number 1 for me, but man, did Bron do his thing last night? Can you guys have a VS on LeBron versus MJ's greatest moments just to get flowers?"
MJ getting booted out of the league for gambling and LeBron getting exposed by KG for PEDs. Love
All right, there you go. Hey, one day on playback, though, we'll do that. We'll compare the top 10, 15, 20 moments of LeBron versus the top 15, 20 of MJ. That should be a good play.
About that, though, like Bron has made a great case for GOAT. But when it comes to just those highlight moments, though, I don't. It's how like they did the verses with the artist and music. I don't think anybody can really bang with MJ in the verses.
There's that nostalgia.
Anthony
I'm a 90s baby,
Rosario.
man. You know what I'm saying?
There's that nostalgia, man.
Anthony Rosario says Swiper not cooking nothing. This bot couldn't say Kyrie finished better than Curry.
Someone else told me Kyrie's not a good finisher, period.
Did the conversation immediately end, or did you continue that?
I may
You
have
turn around and walk away.
You continue to entertain that?
I laughed.
Mars, really quickly to get to Ron, real quick. Somebody said to me, James Worthy would be a great sixth man today. Our conversation ended immediately. I don't entertain logic like that. I don't. So Mars,
he would though.
He would be great.
I'm saying he would be
He'd
great.
be a great
riled.
night, man. He'd be a great night.
I'm about to make him leave. Why would y'all do that? Why y'all?
We got
Y'all
to
done
play
riled him
back
up.
so ideally, Chill would leave and go straight to playback.
James Worthy would be the best power forward in the NBA.
As you were saying, Ron,
I gotta read these super
But
chats.
think about
Yeah.
Montrezl Harrell. Like that would be kind of.
Yo,
What?
Boland said
no,
last year,
go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
last year LeBron's shooting was a fluke because of his foot. He was good in the playoffs, but his shot was off outside.
Outside of the Warriors series.
Outside of the
Yeah.
Warriors series.
Absolutely correct.
It was.
If his shots falling, we're champions, but it wasn't.
Exactly, because you
Wait.
need pull up shooting to beat the Nuggets. See, proof.
Oh, you're saying 1 year of LeBron badge like shooting from deep or just in general? Like 3-point
Oh,
shooting
y'all
or
can hear me?
just
Yeah,
I-
you can, Ron.
I think he's talking about 3-point shooting. I think
Yeah, he is when LeBron was shooting like 24% from three or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
And
that
settling.
bad. Yeah.
Reggie
But-
Red said, now that LeBron is the GOAT again for a couple of days, do the Lakers make the play in this year?
Yeah, I think they'll make the play-in. Unfortunately, Houston fell off, so yeah, I think they're gonna make the play.
Is Houston on pace to win 40 games? If not, I'm
No,
really
I think we're on pace for about 36. We played the Spurs and the Wizards like 3 times in our next 10 games.
It
Latest
was,
Right.
Yeah, it's still we for now.
I'll see
All right,
y'all.
Swiper, you out?
Tomorrow. Yep.
Latest
Hey,
Swiper.
Shane, good.
all right, Piper.
All right.
All right, bro.
Peace, bro.
Nick
I really
Tri-State
believe-
said Shea's more deserving MVP than Luka.
Racist.
100%.
It's about damn time. Said I'm with OG Chill. Stop the BS. Tatum is the best small forward in the league, and yes, he is a better basketball player than Luka. Love Luka, but I'm taking Tatum.
You don't love Luka.
He's spitting.
I mean, like in terms of physical tools and different ways to be able to create a shot over a plethora of defenders, and also it just looks prettier. So people will often put looks prettier with
Aesthetics is something else, ain't it, Slim?
It is. Luka is not he's not an aesthetically pleasing scorer. Him taking one hard step into your chest and then his second step like jumping backwards and just kind of like putting the ball in it's not pretty. It's not like like MVP type flashy stuff.
Pretty effective.
It's effective. It's effective. I mean, but if we're talking about who does more, Luka does more on a basketball court than Jason Tatum does, in my opinion.
Mav Don said Luka carrying a top 3 injury-riddled team, and he's easily playing like the best player this season objectively. He's improved on both ends.
He has improved on both ends.
That's cat.
Oh, never mind. It's cat.
Mav Don also followed up and said, this guy's using B-ball reference MVP tracker to make a case. I'm done. OKC, Denver, and the Bucks are the top 10 healthy teams. Luka on a top 3 injured team.
Mav Don, where do you get your
the Bucks are a top 10 healthy team? Oh, that doesn't know that.
Where do you get your information from, Mav Don? Because it ain't just from watching games. No. Where do you get your information from?
From me.
To be
Because I'm
fair,
100%
I'm the real source of knowledge.
He used
Supplier.
3 different MVP trackers to back up the point he was trying to make. He
Right.
just used-
Right. You don't just, it's not that like dudes is just going on basketball reference. And so what if they are? That's a source of information, like reading the newspaper or reading the internet or getting on the internet.
Nah, stop it.
That's
Chill.
all
They
propaganda.
love
That's
freestyle
all propaganda.
debates,
That's
man.
all propaganda.
Chill.
Hey,
They love
man.
freestyle debates, man. That's what it is. This is
Get outta here.
barbershop talk on the internet. What are you doing looking up numbers in a debate? What's wrong with you? What? You gotta know.
I can
it.
respect a B-ball reference or like a statistical MVP tracker, but if you're pulling like
I gotta
like
do
a,
that.
like a BuzzFeed or a USA Today list, like nah, bro, get out of
No,
here.
I gotta
Make
do
your
that
own
because
opinion.
sometimes I do forget about, the fact that Jordan in 89, I felt like he had a better season than he did in 88. All right, well, sometimes I gotta go back and go do some homework. But go ahead, Ron.
The poll has been set and it's done. We will be watching the 2003 NBA All-Star Game over on playback right now. We ending this right now. We're going over there. So
Later.
Catch you on the
Yeah.
schedule.
Hey Ron, thanks for not reading that stupid chat about Nene being better than
I mean, I thought that was
Respect Nene Hilario.
respect Nene
Respect
though.
Nene Hilario.
But I was